My name is Susan Ambrose. I am calling the meeting of the Coastal Advisory Committee for the City of San Clemente open right now on this August 19th, 2021. And, whoops, does that mean I have to start over? No? Okay, good. Alrighty. Well, at any rate, this meeting is starting 6:30, August 19th, Coastal Advisory Committee by Zoom. And we have all of our members present, including our staff and our clerk. Thank you very much. Let us move on into our beginning where we are going to call to order, which I have. Cynthia, our flag waver, do you have a flag with you, my dear?
I do.
There he is. There she is. Would somebody like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight? I will then stand up and with me. Let's see, you're going to get a good shot of my scarf. That's probably not appropriate. I can't back up far enough to go. So, let me see. Just a second. No, I still can't. So I'm just gonna see which we're covering Cynthia's face. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you. Cynthia, could you do us a roll call, please?
Sure. Charlie Smith,
Here.
Gary McCacken,
Here.
Vice Chair Joreen Campopiano,
Here.
and Chair Susan Ambrose.
Here. Thank you, Cynthia. Moving on to item 4, approval of minutes for July 8th. I hope you all took a good look at those. I just have a couple comments here and there. Does anybody have any comments or suggestions or things that you don't recall that are there or things that you do recall that aren't there? Oh, hold on. The symphony of dogs has started in my neighbor's house. Just a second. This is activity night over here. All righty. Hold on. Let me go through my minutes. All righty. I am looking at page 2 on bottle refill stations comments. It's the last bullet. Commented on the need to install a vandalism-resistant outdoor model of the bottle refill station, as the T Street location is vulnerable to vandalism due to the isolated location and past history. I do recall we discussed this. I think Cynthia brought it up and Charlie addressed this issue as well. And we all agreed that it could be a victim of vandalism. I think we were more concerned that it had the refrigeration and the filtration systems. I don't know if we actually voted. And Eileen, if you have your notes on this, maybe you could look that up. Or unless we just want to agree that we commented on the need. Does that mean we need to have a vandal-proof bottle refill station? That's really my question.
Yes, these are just comments and suggestions that were made during the discussion. They don't have any bearing on any of your actions.
Okay.
It's just things that people said or topics that were discussed.
Okay, great. Well, then I'm fine the way it is unless somebody has a further question about it. No, we're good. Okay.
Susan,
Then
can
I am moving to.
Susan, can I just interrupt for 1 second? I just got a text from someone that's trying to find the YouTube link. Where can they find that?
They go down to the home page and down the bottom right, they can click YouTube.
Okay, from our agenda? Is it on the agenda?
No, from the home page of the city website.
Okay.
Sorry, I wasn't specific.
Okay. So.
And while you're looking that up or I'm sending that message to Reem, I'm just going to move on to page 3 if you don't mind. And I'm looking at 6D.
Under And so Joreen, I'm sorry to interrupt, Susan. You go to the main web, the city webpage, and under About Us, when you scroll your cursor over About Us, in the left column it says YouTube channel. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, says YouTube channel, and then it takes you to the YouTube channel, and Coastal Advisory Committee is shown as live right now.
Okay, so
Okay.
City of San Clemente, About Us.
Well,
Yep.
the other way I suggested works all the time for me when I check into meetings. So either one I'm sure would work.
Yep, About Us, and then scroll down to YouTube channel, and ours is at the top right now.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll let him know.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jermaine. All right, so I'm on page 360, and we're talking about the signage and the 2 bullets. We made comments and suggestions, so we suggested signage might be placed on the marine safety building to aid reporting and reduce the number of civilians who distract lifeguards with bird-related concerns. And the second bullet suggested additional contact numbers, such as the numbers for reporting injured animals, could be included on the signs. We talked about that for some time, and I'm just asking Cynthia now for my information and my colleagues' information. Are you following up on this? Because we did ask you if this was going to happen. It was a discussion that we were making recommendations to you.
Well, we can discuss that when we get to the pure signage item on the agenda.
Well, I'm asking you a question right now because it was in the minutes. Are you intending to follow up on it? And then I'll follow up when we get to the signage.
I can address, well, it's been recommended that the sign not have too much information on there, so I can bring this up.
Okay, we'll wait till we hit it on this agenda item then.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Let's go on to page 4. And it's item 7B, I'm sorry, 7A. And it is the paragraph after all the bullets. In fact, that last bullet suggested the CAC rely on an EGC recommendation to approve the grant request. I believe that comment came from Cynthia. But in that paragraph following, although the CAC has concerns regarding the lack of specificity regarding staff, school, students, and program delivery, it was moved by, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of that is true. I don't know what happened here. I just lost all of you. Just a second. Okay. Were you able to hear me while I was lost there? Okay.
Yes.
We moved the thing. I wanted to include the fact that although the CAC has concerns and asked that they be noted, because I distinctly asked that they be noted regarding the lack of specificity, it was moved and we unanimously carried to recommend. So I'm just asking you to insert and ask they be noted after the words concerns. Eileen, are you catching that?
What is it you want? Repeat that again, please.
Yes, it's the paragraph after all the bullets on the top on page 4. It starts with, although the CAC has concerns. Kindly tell me when you're there.
There.
After concerns, and ask that they be noted. I'm asking you to put that phrase in there and ask that they be noted regarding the lack of specificity. We went on and moved and seconded and unanimously carried the project. Point is, we voiced our concerns. We agreed to unanimously vote on this, but we wanted our concerns said in our decision, noted in our decision.
It is noted in the recommendation, the lack of specificity regarding staff, school, students, and program delivery.
Yes, but the way it emphasizes that we had concerns and we did it anyway. Who's objecting right now?
Yeah, so I think to me, the problem is the last sentence where it's basically saying that we recommended that the project is approved as described in their application. And I don't think that's what we said, right?
Exactly, right.
So I think we just need to change that last thing to, that we recommended approval with, for the approval of the project 3R with our recommended, I don't know if it was changes or with our noted concerns.
Yes, that would be fine.
Something like that. We just need to change, because it wasn't what it says.
Right,
I did check the notes, and what the notes are is that this sentence was put in front, and then the motion was made, and it was made to, the motion was made to follow the staff report recommendation, which that was the staff report recommendation. So there wasn't motion, it wasn't specified in the motion what the motion was. It was to follow the staff recommendation, and that was the staff recommendation.
okay, but the discussion that preceded it was full of concern about the things that were missing. We agreed, in spite of those concerns, we agreed because we thought it was a good idea. He needed some guidance with his business plan, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really want to spend a lot of time on this. The fact is, we noted those things when we, and before we made the motion. The motion was made, it didn't include, I see here that it wasn't include. The Jareen is accurate. This is not how, this paints a different picture of our approval of this. We approved it, but we had concerns. And those concerns, I think we addressed Cynthia and asked her to mention them to the city manager.
Can we just strike the last, for the project described in their application? Can we just end it at the city manager approval to fund project, period? And
Yeah.
that,
Well, I'm not sure of the status of anything, but you really can't change your minutes to reflect something that you prefer that you had said at the time. Because the reality was that the motion carried with it the staff recommendation, and this was the staff recommendation. So I understand what you want to do, but I think that you could bring it up maybe in your communications, and that way it'll be on the next set of minutes that you want something changed, or you want not something changed, not the minutes changed, because these are reflecting what actually happened. But in your communications, you could bring up that you would like the city manager to recognize all the different hesitations that you had and the discussion that you had in advance of moving the staff recommendation.
Well, when we discussed
And
it,
that really might have more impact as well, because it would be listed in your communications instead of listed in minutes, which are sometimes just considered, like typo fixes.
yes, well, in this case, it's not a typo fix. Hold on, Cynthia, I see your hand up. In this case, it's not a typo fix. You do these very well, Eileen. This followed we had a very lengthy discussion about this whole
Right.
subject. And so it's not like we wanted it to be there. It is, the fact is, we did talk about it, we did discuss it, and it was because of our concerns and the fact that it would be carried over because we thought it could be a good project if those concerns were addressed. We asked Cynthia to address those concerns when
Right.
she mentioned
And
that approved it to, or moved it on for approval. Hold on, when she moved it on for approval to the city manager. Thank you. So that's all I'm asking for, and all Doreen is asking for. We're not, what you're describing here is not what we agreed on. So I would support Doreen's recommendation to end this after the word project.
Could we just say project as per the staff recommendation? And then that just sort of keeps it vague and,
Well, I think we can just stop it after project. I don't think we need to say described in their application because we've already noted it.
You know, if Cynthia agrees that it should be changed, then I can change it.
Oh, I didn't realize Cynthia had a vote on this. Cynthia, go ahead, please.
So in my recommendation is one, to keep it as is, because it does actually reflect what was said at the meeting, because this was the recommendation was read per what was on the agenda. But in the memo to the city manager, that's where I can state the concerns of the Coastal Advisory Committee due to the lack of specificity, staff, school, students. And I can also emphasize that city staff would ensure that these items are addressed before they move forward with their outreach. So,
Yeah, that's what we asked you to do.
right. So
Thank
I can do that in the city manager memo when I'm asking him for approval.
Well,
And then you don't have to change the minutes because the recommendation here is actually what was said at the meeting.
it's got a different inference than that's true. But Cynthia, if you will do that, I'm fine with it. However, last time when I got these minutes, I called you immediately and pointed this out to you. And you told me that you already made the proposals to the city manager.
Yeah, and I haven't heard back from him. And so I can revise that and send it over to him. I have not gotten approval from the city manager yet. So I can revise it. I can do that right away and make sure I convey to the city manager the concerns the CAC has. So, yes.
Okay, right now I'm going to just take a straw vote. If I am fine with that. Is everybody else in agreement with Cynthia's proposal to make it rectified what we're saying? Thumbs up, yes, please. Yes, great. We're all in favor. Thank you, Cynthia.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your cooperation.
No problem.
All righty. And that's all I have. Anybody else have any comments? Then I am going to make a motion to move these minutes with the amendments and the offer Cynthia made. Eileen, could you note that offer that she made that we all agreed on, please?
Note it in what?
In my motion right now. Is that considered an amendment? We're not writing anything right now. We just verbally agreed to her statements that she would follow up in a memo with the city manager that these things need to be addressed by her with the applicant prior to approval.
That would be a different motion. And I'm not sure where you would insert it in your meeting, but the motion for the minutes is approval or approval with changes or continuance, but I don't think that's a good option.
No, we can't continue this. We're not meeting again.
No, so you want to approve it or approve it with changes?
Okay, now we want to, I already made the motion that we approve it with amendments. Is what Cynthia offered and our vote considered an amendment to you, even though it was verbal? We did not make a written change.
No, that's not an amendment.
Okay, is it a change?
You have to tell me what you're going to change. You tell me what you're going to change, and then I'll note it, and that will be the change noted in the minutes.
Okay, well, that's what I just asked you if we could do. Cynthia, would you repeat to Eileen, please, what you offered to do and we all agreed with?
Okay, so first of all, you're not making any changes to the minutes. So if you're going to approve the minutes, it would be approve as written, as presented, because you haven't made any changes. And yes, I've agreed to actually contact or revise the memo to the city manager to include your concern. So I'm fine to do that, but that doesn't reflect the changes to the meeting minutes. There's no changes to the minute.
I have made amendments. I've made other comments in here in these minutes. I don't know where you've been for the past 15 minutes.
We haven't noted any.
Okay, well, I noted,
Eileen, have you noted any changes to the minute?
I don't have any changes. I know we did discuss one on page 2
yeah,
and one on page 3, I believe. But both of them were determined to be, the one on page 2 was determined to be just a comment or a suggestion, which we're just saying what was actually said at the meeting. It has no bearing because there was no action on that. And then the second one, you elected to talk about the pier netting safety signage at the time that you're going to talk about the actual signage.
okay. Well, I thought that should be noted, but that's fine. I
That's-
concur with you then.
those
I
are
did
no
agree with
changes.
that for 7.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, so I guess then just the meeting in itself, this verbalization will indicate the commitment Cynthia made and our thumbs up, our unanimous thumbs up for that future action. Is that correct, Eileen? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct. But that I'm not sure if that discussion belongs in the minutes because it's just in the minutes. And like you say, for that reason, it is not going to be noted. So if you wanted to talk about it, it would be a good thing to bring up during your communications and bring it up then.
So in essence, when we do the communication, Cynthia can repeat this again and we can vote again. Because you think it's more powerful in communications than here?
Either communications or in committee member comments.
That seems very, very odd to me. I wouldn't vote for this if this behavior with Cynthia was not going to occur. Because we were very diligent about making that statement when we voted on this. But in light of a lengthy agenda that we have, I am going to move. Oh, I've lost you now. I don't know where you are. Here we are. I guess I will move these minutes as are. I can't add something like with the notion that we'll add something in communication. I
No,
have to
you're
just
going to
move
do
these
that
things
at your
as
new
are.
meeting.
What was that, Eileen?
You're going to do that at your meeting tonight. You're
Yeah.
going to put it in your remarks or your communication, and it's more effective, in my opinion, in that location.
Okay, well, in light of that, then I will move that the minutes be approved as is. I'm looking for a second.
Second?
Gary seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Eileen, for your parliamentary advice.
You're welcome.
Let's move on to public input. Cynthia, do you have any comments to us that you want to share from the public?
Let me just double check my emails real quickly. And no, I do not have any public comment.
All righty, in that case, I will close the public input opportunity since there is none. We move on to old business. 6A, the bottle refill station update. Cynthia has included pretty much the same report that we got last month about the bottle refill station. However, she's indicated that she still has not gotten a report back of the cost of the refrigeration and filtering part of the request we made for her. So that is an ongoing item. And hence, I had hoped it would be an action item, but it's not because we don't have the information we need to vote on this subject because we don't have the quotes for refrigeration and filtration in the cost of the bottle refill station.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I have emailed the contractor multiple times requesting information about the refrigeration system and the filtration system. Now, I did discuss with him about 6 weeks ago that for this type of commercial use, because this is more of a commercial use, that you would have to buy a unit, a refrigeration unit, and you'd probably want to buy a commercial filtering system rather than like a filtering inline system that you would have on your refrigerator if you wanted to filter the water. And so I've requested multiple times if you've got those quotes or estimates for that equipment, and I just have not heard back. So I apologize for that. I was working on it, but I can't get a response from him. But I think that, what do we have? Go ahead.
I think it'd be helpful if you called him again or find another vendor.
Yeah,
I mean, in these pandemic times, people are pretty desperate to sell and market their products.
yeah, this is the vendor that's installed the bottle refill stations for the city. He actually is a contractor for the city. So I'm not sure if he's just busy or what's going on, but I'll try him again. But I know our original quote was about $8,550.
Yeah, I see that.
Without the refrigeration system and the filtration system. This outdoor vandalism resistant device does not have an option for either of those. So
Right.
we have to buy the equipment, like I mentioned earlier. And honestly, I could say add another $1,500 to make it $10,000, but I just don't know because I was waiting to get feedback from him.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so do we need to then just move this item to be carried over to BP&R, or how would we structure?
no, I think exactly we should do that. That was going to be my recommendation, since we can't do this on action item. Go ahead, Doreen, you were going to make that motion anyway. And
Yeah, the
I
one thing
just
I did want to add in is
Yeah.
that if we're going to be kind of going back and forth with the contractor, I do think it might be worth a discussion of whether we would want to add a lot of the filter stations have those dog fountains on the bottom, which I think is really nice for the dogs that are walking. And I actually just walked the trail with my dog last week, and there's not a lot of options for them kind of in the mid trail by T Street. So it might be nice to add that as an option as we move forward.
I think so too. I think that's forward thinking. And just a footnote on what you're saying too. I was the one who volunteered to go out and do the fundraising. I was pretty confident that I can do that. However, I always aim high when I fundraise, and I rarely am turned down, because people want to know the whole cost, what they're getting for their money, what's going to change, how is that going to improve or reduce the use of plastics and all that stuff. And I can do all that homework and make my presentation, and then they'll want to do that. I mean, it's a positive thing. I can't go back and ask for 8,000 now. And oh, by the way, Jim, now I need another 2,000. That's that person will never do anything with me again. So it has to be the whole enchilada that I have when I go out to market and find sponsors for this. My other recommendation in cooperation and collaboratively with Doreen is that, since she is moving over to Beaches, Parks and Recreation, I don't know if all of you knew that, she is, and we are happy for that. She can be our ambassador there for this project, and we have had it, as you know, we were the ones who brought this to the attention of the Coastal Advisory Committee years ago. Hasn't it been years ago, Doreen? At least 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Charlie,
the other thing I was just going to add is, in a conversation with the mayor too, because I mentioned this to her. Well, Doreen and I actually met with her, and she mentioned that BP&R does bottle refill stations. So if we could not get this through with what's going on right now, that she would help in ensuring that BP&R do that. But I'm going to go ahead and ask Doreen to make a motion officially so that we move this forward as a forward action.
okay, so I'm going to motion to move forward as a recommendation that BP&R take on the T Street water bottle refill station project.
Can you add that
Oh, including consideration of features such as water filtration, refrigeration, and dog friendliness or dog faucet.
And metal, do we want to add it? And so the substance of it should be pretty strong to avoid vandalism.
And vandal proof.
Thank you. 2 words, 2 words to sum up what I just said. Thank you, thank you.
Can we say
We're looking for the unicorn fountain.
Pardon me, Chair Ambrose, but
Yes.
this is not an action item. And I would suggest that you add this when you are talking about the things that you are going to have Parks and Recreation do after the CAC has been disbanded.
We have done that.
Right. And so you have an action then where you can make that action.
Okay, well,
But
I'd
here
like to
you don't have an action option. It's
Okay.
just,
Eileen, can
You
you just then
you
maybe write?
understand? I
write
can go
it-
ahead and write it in there. I can write it in there, but you are taking an action on an action item that on a non-action item. Just
Okay, so,
so
but,
you know.
so yeah, we can make that recommendation later on in the meeting, but if Eileen, if you could
Exactly.
just write down what I said, so I don't have to recreate it at that
Yeah,
point.
I have it.
Thank
That
you.
that would be
But
great.
I did want to, if you are going to have it go forward, I did want to include, suggest that you include the counter.
The
Oh,
counter.
yes, yes. Yes,
Water.
yes, that was on our original plan and we forgot all about it, the bottle
Okay.
counter, the
Yeah,
bottle
okay.
safe.
Yeah, add that in, Eileen, and then we'll make it along with the other recommendations later. So,
Okay.
thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome. So, was there a second on that? Pardon me.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor? Thumbs up, please. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you very much, Eileen and Doreen and the rest of my colleagues. Alrighty, let's go on to the pure netting bird safety signage. Again, that's a memo that Cynthia prepared and Dave actually, I think Dave signed that actually. Dave, are you with us tonight? I invited Dave to join us. Do you know if he's joining us tonight?
David's not with us tonight. Yep.
Okay, that's too bad. He always has some good comments. At any rate, so here we are on the pure netting safety signage. And Cynthia, I guess you can address, I was looking at the samples that you included in here. Let me see, my next pages. And everybody's got them. And you're looking for some language or approval of the language that you've already talked about. And you're indicating that this should be short and to the point because it's going to go on a sign. What is the size of the sign going to be? This 8.5 by 11?
No, it would be 11 by 17, a little bit smaller than that. I think it's like 10 by 16 are typical that sign range. Kind of like a ledger size piece of paper.
Okay. I made some comments on this just for some ideas, but I'd like to hear anybody else's ideas if you've got some suggestions on this language. Well, hearing none so far, I'm just going to throw mine out there and see what you think. And I know that you will all be very cognitively listening to what could be changed after I say these things. And you might think of something that's cleaner and shorter and briefer. That's what I'm hoping for. So I deleted the word thereby, and I deleted the whole statement improving water quality for swimmers and substituted saying bacteria from their droppings is not healthy for swimmers. And then I left the vandalism comment down there. Any comments on that, Doreen?
I'm not a fan of saying droppings on.
Okay, what would you like to say?
I'm okay with it the way it is. I don't know if thereby is needed. I mean, I think you could take out under, you could say pier netting installed to deter pigeons from roosting. You don't have to say under the pier because the sign's going to be under the pier, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then,
And
Yeah, I-
thereby is just a, you don't, an unneeded word.
yeah, improving water quality. I'm okay with it, improving water quality for swimmers. I mean, it could be surfers, swimmers, recreational
Improving is a
users.
gerund, and that should not be used in that. It should be an action word. This action will improve water quality for swimmers.
About
it should
to improve water quality.
Plain and simple.
Smaller word, quicker to read.
Yeah,
From roosting, I don't mind under pier, but to improve water quality for swimmers.
well, we can leave swimmers off, right, to just improve,
To improve water quality.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
to improve
fine.
water quality. Anybody who's walking down there, floating, whatever they're doing. So let me just read this back to you. Netting, oh no, what are we, Doreen, read what you started with, please.
I think I had it just the same, netting installed to deter pigeons from roosting. I took out under pier.
And I took out thereby.
And then using Gary's was it to improve water quality, right?
Mhm.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think you started with pier netting, Doreen. You wanted to
Oh, yeah.
put the word up there. So this is what I have. Pier netting installed to deter pigeons from roosting to improve water quality.
Why don't you just say pure netting will deter pigeons from roosting? You don't need to use the word install.
Oh, pier netting. Oh, that will deter pigeons from roosting to improve water quality.
Yeah,
Or you could say pier netting deters pigeons from roosting. And then you can just take out that extra will.
pure netting deters pigeons from roosting
To improve water quality.
water quality. Good. Cynthia, what do you think?
Yeah, and in fact, with that reduction in words, I like short and succinct. That's great. I know you guys wanted to have like if a phone number for trapped bird or trapped wildlife.
Oh, yeah.
But now I have more room maybe to do that.
Oh, good.
Actually, to add that in. Because it was recommended by code enforcement to have the vandalism, to reference the penal code there, just so that people know that they can get in trouble for vandalizing city property.
Yeah, and I think could you just put it in a smaller font, like underneath about the phone number?
Then I'm thinking, yeah, underneath the vandalism, I could put in the phone number for, I don't know if I should say trapped wildlife or.
I would say for injured or trapped wildlife, call.
Injured or trapped wildlife. Call, and then I can put in phone number. That might be good. Because now I have more room,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's great.
I do too.
And did we say what size the signs are? And are they going to be like on a stake? Are they going to be nailed to the, I mean, how are they?
It's going to be 11 by 17, like a ledger size piece of paper. Like if you took two 8.5 by 11s, right? Just double those.
Okay.
And then it would be adhered to the beams of the pier, underneath the pier.
Okay. And then are we going to have like the city seal on it or anything like that, or no?
You know what?
I think you should.
Let me see if I can, if we can do that. Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Yes.
that looks good.
let me take off the, I don't know if I can do that. And I can put another line, like I can put this line in
I
between.
might you reduce the for injured or trapped wildlife one more font lower?
You want that smaller?
Yes, I'm just taking a look at it, one smaller.
Let me see, is this the same size? These are the same size, vandalism and injured or trapped wildlife.
Yes, I'm asking for it to be one smaller, one or two smaller.
Oh, you want it smaller? Okay.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure that we put, let me find out if we put our city seal on signs like this. I want to be consistent with what we do in other parts of the city, so I'll find out about that, okay?
Okay, and then my last thing is just, people who are really good at grammar, is to the right word?
I'm
From,
just looking at that.
because it seems off. It's a pier netting deters pigeons from roosting to improve.
How about just pier netting deters pigeons from roosting, improving water quality?
Yeah, that's better.
There we go, yes. Well, I didn't like that, Jared, but now when we've taken out some of those infinitives, the twos, all those twos,
I could put
that works
ocean,
great.
I could put ocean in there and it balances it out, but I don't know if you want that in there.
No, I like that,
Ocean
like
water
that.
quality,
I
yeah,
do like that. I like ocean.
okay.
I like ocean.
yeah.
Pier netting deters pigeons from roosting, improving ocean water quality.
And then you can use it as one of our actions for clean oceans. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Clean action activities, putting signs up about this. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like the way that looks. How about you, colleagues? What do you think?
Looks good.
Gary?
Good.
Charlie?
I know I'm being ridiculous, but
No, don't be as ridiculous as you want to be here.
okay, I think it's assumed, and I think everybody understands here. I just hope everybody else understands that what we mean by vandalism may result in criminal charges. I hope they understand that what we mean is vandalism of the pier netting.
Oh,
So
that's a good point.
it's on the same sign. You know what they say about assuming. So
Can we put something in parentheses after vandalism, like cutting the net?
How about at the top? How about at the top, putting do not touch nets?
I like that. I think that works right there. What you just
That's
did,
really,
Cynthia.
that's the command.
Netting vandalism.
How about net,
vandalism of
net
netting?
vandalism? Just put net vandalism.
I don't know. That could be internet. How about vandalism of netting may result? There you go. Vandalism of netting may result. There you go. Okay, I think that looks better.
I could make this, the penal code, a little smaller, just.
Yeah, that makes
You
sense.
know what I mean?
That's
right?
perfect. Yep.
But I kind of like Gary's at the very top. Do not cut netting.
Do not touch.
Well, they can touch it all they want, but it's the vandalism is when they cut it.
Yeah, I was really concerned people hanging off of it. You know.
Do not touch, because you gotta touch it first.
Although if you make the suggestion, won't kids then
Right.
do it?
Yeah. I think it's good. Leave it as is.
Vandalism of netting may result in criminal charges.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlie, now I'm going to ask you a question. So you've got teenagers. So would they look at, if they're trying to help a bird out, would they call that vandalism?
Well, it does say right below for injured or trapped wildlife call. So the assumption is that you're not supposed to touch it. You should call someone else. I would like to think that my wife and I have educated our kids enough to know that that's the route that they should go.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm fine with this. How are my colleagues? Gary?
I like it.
Fine.
Okay. Doreen?
Good.
And Charlie? You
Yeah, I
all
like it. I
So
like it.
we're 4-on-4. Cynthia?
Yeah, great. I appreciate you guys chiming in because there's been multiple versions going around amongst staff, and you know, it's nice to get a fresh look on it and the feedback from all of you. So I think it looks great.
I think it's very succinct, don't you?
Yeah.
Boom. If you can't understand what's going on there, you got a problem, unless people don't understand what roosting means.
Right.
All right.
Okay, cool. I'll
Good
move
to go.
forward on getting the next step on getting estimates or signs made, that type of thing. Okay.
Okay, and then,
Yeah.
Eileen, could you please in your minutes here note that we complied with Cynthia's request to come up with some vocabulary and words for the signage. And gosh, what is happening? Oh, Cynthia, I'm seeing all your stuff on my screen.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Let me unshare. Okay.
All right, thank you. Eileen, I was saying, would you please include, oh geez, now, hold on. My lights went out here.
Susan, well, typically what I would do on this sort of, on this item, this agenda item, would say the committee members discussed and provided alternative signage, and then list the alternative signage.
And then
That's what I would typically do. And then I would list the alternative signage.
Okay,
I would say what the sign is going to say.
okay,
I would note the changes. I wouldn't go through and say, take out this word and put this one in. I would say that you went through and revised it, and this is the end result.
okay. I think
Okay.
that sounds good. Does everybody
Okay.
agree?
Yep.
Okay. We're good to go on? All righty, we're getting to the big thing here. Our CAC annual 2020 work plan accomplishments and other accomplishments for 2019, 2021. All righty. I'm going to just start this, if you will.
Can we do what Cynthia did? And Cynthia, could you pull it up, the word, and then
Yep.
and then we could edit it as people have comments?
Yes, thank you, Doreen, for reminding us that Cynthia offered to do that. We want to take advantage of that
Yep. I'm going to
opportunity.
step out. The cleaners are here. I'm just going to close the door to avoid
Okay.
vacuuming noise. Hold on. And then give me a second and I will open up this document that I had in your packet, and I got to save as a different name so that I have the working document that we'll work on right now.
Okay.
Please hold.
Did anybody else make any notes and comments on these other than me?
I didn't.
No.
You're talking about the
The accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they looked good.
Yeah, they look good, but since we're part of the writing and stuff, once you get that editor stuff in your head, you read it again, and it could be more concise, or it could be whatever. I'm going to offer some other options here and some things that weren't included that I think should be included, and so it'll be up to all of us to decide. Tell me when you're ready, please.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Hold on. Let me get this. Just a second. Sorry about that.
I only had one comment, but you go ahead, Susan, and I'll mention it.
Oh, I would rather have you do your one first.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's more of a question, actually, truth be told, and it was under my favorite topic is sand replenishment. So CAC recommended that the city council suspend the opportunistic sand replenishment program, but continue to monitor it for replenishment opportunities on an annual basis. And this was in July of 2019. What do we mean by that?
Well, Tom Vonnegut approached us. Oh, no. I'm getting you. What do I have here? Yikes.
So first bullet point, understand replenishment.
Yeah,
Let Cynthia catch up with us here.
so that was So Charlie, that was, the city of San Clemente used to have an Army Corps permit. I think it was called an RGP, which is called a Regional General Permit, that allowed us to place sand opportunistically on the beach if it became available from like a dredging project.
Okay.
And these RGPs, I think they expire every 5 years, and we chose not to renew it just because I don't think there was any upcoming, I guess, projects or opportunities that we saw up ahead, because it requires like a consultant and things like that to get that permit renewed. But it was something we had before, and I think we need to kind of keep in our back pocket as we move forward with any sort of sand replenishment in San Clemente.
And also to add to that, Charlie, Tom Bonigan had come to us and asked us to do that because it was costing a lot of money to renew the permits. And we were keeping these permits alive with no sand product or no need. The last two projects we had done for opportunistic were at North Beach. And both of them pretty much fell apart pretty quickly because shortly after there were huge storms. So they're resulting in a lot of damage, not only to the concession, but to the beach itself. So we decided, that's why we added the extra function. Could you go down to sand replenishment there, please, Cynthia?
Got it. Let me scroll down there.
That's why we added it as an action item, because we asked Tom to be sure it was reviewed on an annual basis in case something came up. And look what we're looking at now, like we're so close, San Clemente is so close to what's happened in Dana Point and Capistrano Beach, and even the south end of San Clemente, as Doreen shared with us at our last meeting. State Parks is losing some sand down there as well. So that sand nourishment opportunity we might be calling on, and Doreen will be the messenger on that. And by the way, and anytime there's a BPNR meeting, Doreen, I mean, I'll be watching that too, but if any of us are interested in those agendas, well, you just need to contact Miley and she'll send you the agenda. She does for me, and she'll do it for anybody who wants that agenda. Cynthia, I don't know where I am. I'm, and you've got me in a block of join window. Let's see. Okay, thank you. I think that happened.
I guess my only question is, so as we look at the header, right? The header lists accomplishments, and then we've got this sort of other sort of sub header below here, other key topics addressed. Are we just saying that this is other key topics addressed, or we're not listing the fact that we recommended that we suspend the opportunistic sand replenishment program as an accomplishment?
No, these were, no. Well, actually, it was an accomplishment according to Tom, because he's got to save that money and use it for other purposes. So
you're saying it was an accomplishment, or it wasn't?
It was, in that it freed up money for Tom to use for other things, and because we were not in need of sand replenishment at those times, as Doreen mentioned. I know it reads in a negative when it has the word suspend.
I don't know. I wouldn't view, well, I mean, just my 2 cents. I wouldn't view that as an accomplishment.
Okay.
Sand replenishment is like the biggest black eye that we have as a city right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys go with what you want to go with, because this predates me, but
Well, is there a way that we could make it sound more positive? For example,
I would just, the only thing that sounds positive is just dropping the whole thing.
We could take it out. I mean, if
yeah, I wouldn't.
Because I agree. Like I actually wasn't there for the vote, and I wasn't really happy with the suggestion, but I mean, obviously.
Well, I wasn't happy either. I added the annual basis, and I asked for an annual report actually to the city council. So those things got squeezed off. But
let's just take it out. I mean, because
awesome.
I agree. It shouldn't really be, it's not.
I'm fine with that. Let's take it out.
Shining star of our.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, well, that's why you're needed in this committee, because especially since you weren't there when that happened, when you're viewing it as somebody from just the public, since you didn't have the background on this particular item,
Mhm.
that particular sentence, that was very valuable for us. You always bring in some good topics and some good statements and good insight.
Thank
But
you, Susan.
speaking of insight, I don't know that I like this blue ink at all in this report. I think the text, the black and white, should be used throughout. And I don't need that, I don't think we can put additional key topics, additional or CAC additional key topics or something like that, and just put the years.
Yeah, I think because I was working on this document, I started off with the actual work plan items at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then these were just other key topics that were addressed during this time period, in addition to the actual work plan.
Well, and it helps clarify where we are when we're looking through this, because it's easy to get confused with all these pages. So in that respect, it was needed. But when we finalize this, I think it should be in the black ink, and it should be commandingly larger than stand replenishment, than those titles, so that they know these are additional key topics. You don't even have to say it because it's a CAC accomplishment. And you're going to have the year range in there anyway, correct? Or do we need it because it's on the title? I don't think we need it because it's on the title.
What is it you're referring to now?
I'm looking at, I am asking Cynthia to change the blue to a black ink and make that font bigger, and do not use the word other. We can just say additional key topics or additional key CAC key topics. And then the years, there is a duplication of what the title of, are you gonna have that title on every page, Cynthia?
Which title?
Coastal Advisory Committee accomplishments 2019 to 21.
That I do have it in the header.
Okay, so you're not gonna have edited, you're taking the edited out of it, correct?
If you'd like me, yes. Mhm.
Yes, that needs to be removed. But, so, yeah, that's what I would do. That was my recommendation on that topic. Anybody who doesn't like that idea? Cynthia, so you're comfortable with we're taking out the blue ink, wherever you have blue ink from here on out, and changing it to black, and making that font larger than the titles that you have below. Taking the word other out. You could just put CAC additional key topics and nothing else, because you have the date on the top.
Okay, I've got the font size. What is it next? You want me to remove other?
Other. I'd put CAC key topics there. I'd take out addressed by CAC and the date. So after topics, delete the rest. You could put additional in front of CAC if you wanted to. Now, I didn't look. Is all of your, is that supposed to be that light gray? Is that going to come out as dark? Okay, yeah. Are all your headings in italics?
No.
Or should we have those key titles not italicized to differentiate?
You're asking the other TAC members, right?
No, I'm asking you and anybody
This
who
is
wants
the
to respond to
formatting
my
that I
question.
have. If you want the formatting changed, then you let me know and I can go and change all of them, or however you want.
Well,
I don't, So Susan, you're saying you want to see, you don't like the italics?
I don't think it should be used through the whole thing. I think if you've got a larger font title, that should be just up and down, plain font, not italicized. It can be the same font rather, but not the same style.
Okay, I'm okay with it doesn't bother me, but I don't know if anyone
It
else.
should stand out more. This, can you go up further, Cynthia, please? Well, where was the one, where were we before? Where we just made that change, key topics. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I think I like that better because it differentiates. No, I think you should put just the top title in that straight sound replenishment style and leave sound replenishment as italicized like all the other captions are. No. Yeah. So the additional CAC key topics would be just straight. That way it clearly differentiates what we're doing. All right, can we go back to the top of this then, with the beginning? Okay. So on the CAC mission and function mission, in our past presentations and all mine to the city council, I just say mission, CAC mission statement, period. And I would like you to do that with this. Can I have the approval of my colleagues to do this? We'll just call it the CAC mission statement. Anybody agree with me? No? You like it with mission and function?
I mean, we could, so you're just saying change mission and function to mission statement?
Yeah, CAC mission statement.
That's fine.
And each of those sentences, and so we don't have to say mission again, each of those sentences should have its own bullet. So Cynthia, on the fourth line there, where that starts, the committee shall strive, could you add a bullet right in front of that, the committee, please? There's 5 statements there. Each have their own focus and purpose. There you go. Thank you, perfect. Okay, and then I'm moving down to the pure bacteria source characterization study in progress. I added in here, and again, my colleagues will help decide whether we should do this or not. We were asked by Dave and through Cynthia, and also Dave, when you and I met with him, asked us if we would, asked him if we would recommend to the city council the creation of a stakeholders group. See if I can read my writing here with this bad light. A stakeholder group of science, health, or science, marine bio. He asked for experts. I'm just adding some of the categories in here. Let me read this to you. So it's an extra bullet that would go, it would precede the first bullet, Cynthia, in placement. And what I'm trying to say is we were asked to ask for this stakeholder advisory committee to the city council. We did so. The city council approved it upon our recommendation, and I believe environmental services as well. We did a joint presentation. Do you recall that, Cynthia?
Yeah.
Okay, so we should be getting credit for doing that. I recall when I was speaking and a question was being asked, one of the council members asked either the city attorney or the city manager if we were involved in the pure bacteria source characterization study or the stakeholder advisory committee, and he was told no, that we had nothing to do with it. So that is a direct opposite of what is true. Not only were we asked to recommend it for creation, but we also have a member serving on the Pure Bowl Stakeholder Advisory Committee. So we have that on the second bullet. So before the second bullet, let me read this to you and we can clean it up, just so we have a start. City of San Clemente approved CAC's recommendation to establish a stakeholder group of experts in the fields of science, marine biology, and health. See. And hold on. Oh, to identify and eliminate potential sources of bacteria exceedances at the pier. Well, I thought you were going to type that in as I was saying it.
Oh. Sorry, I'm writing it down.
Oh, okay. And colleagues, please take a look at it and feel free to wordsmith all you like. I'm just wanting to be sure that the city council and others understand that we were part of creating this tech committee, stakeholder committee.
Pardon me, Chair Ambrose, could you repeat that, the entire bullet for me, please?
I will do my best to read my own writing.
Well, I'm typing it in right now, maybe, and it might change, right? Based on
Yeah.
the feedback from members.
Okay. Then I don't need to worry about it so much.
No, not
Not
yet.
yet, anyway, huh?
No, not yet. And I think I put in there, I know I put in there, and when I spoke to the city council, I'm quite sure that I emphasized the science, technology, health.
Okay, where do you want to put that? I'm sorry, didn't get all that.
A group of experts in the fields of science, technology, marine biology, health. I wrote down ecology, but I don't remember saying that, so you can take that out. And so to identify and eliminate potential sources causing bacterial exceedances at the pier. Well, and that sentence actually started with City Council approved the CAC recommendation of the establishment.
City council approved.
The CAC recommendation. You can say of the establishment or of the creation of a stakeholder.
Recommendation to establish a stakeholder group.
Or create, whatever works best. Okay. So that's a skinny. I think that's a strong statement, but that's what we did, and it should show as things that we've done. And we're still, since the committee is still functioning, the study is still in progress, and our actions with that are still there. And so then we go to the next one. I have one comment on the next one. So on the second one, after underneath the pier, I took the period off and said, and make recommendations to eliminate them. End of the second sentence, yes, right there. And make recommendations to eliminate them. because that's what, during you were in those meetings, I heard all of you make some kinds of recommendations, ways to eliminate the bacteria sources, and the kinds of things that they were doing to find the sources of bacteria. But your input and anybody else's input is welcome. If we're happy with the first one, are you happy with the second one, the way I added that, just that last statement there? Because we're not just finding and identifying the pollution, we're doing something about it. That's the whole purpose of that stakeholder advisory committee as well, both of those functions. All right, well then, the next item, I put, after BMPs, I put, and collaborated with stakeholders on this effort. I took that line from the next bullet. CAC provided feedback and collaborated with stakeholders on this effort. I moved the and collaborated with stakeholders on this effort after BMPs and took out bullet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Took out bullet 5. Are you with me, Cynthia?
Yeah.
Okay. So it starts with the and collaborated. Yeah, there we go. All right,
Just
and
wanted
then,
to be collaborated like that.
I'm sorry?
Let me know if this is what you're looking for.
Yes. Oh, wait, no, after BMPs, no. There was no, oh, no, it was before. And collaborate with stakeholders on this effort to eliminate sources. So the and collaborate with stakeholders on this effort goes before to eliminate. It's after BMPs and before to eliminate. Right there. Okay, and the next one I did not change, and the next one I did not change. So I'm on water sample. You need a period after water sample.
Okay.
So after, and the next, so let's go to the next bullet. Second phase, that's fine for me, in my opinion. And then I just have a question mark here. Where, I think we should have a bullet as to where are we now. This is our things we've accomplished. Right now, aren't we in the midst of analyzing the confirmation testing?
Yeah.
So can you put a bullet to that so that it looks like we're not just flat in the water here after the second phase?
Confirmatory sampling and data analysis are in progress.
Do you want to put a projected date?
Nope,
Okay.
don't know. Lots going on.
All right. Well, so I'm done with that section. Does anybody have any comments about the changes I've made, or do you have your own? Are you comfortable with the changes I've suggested? Any questions? And if there's no questions and you're in agreement, can we move on to the local coastal program? Yes? Give me a thumbs up if we can move on.
Are we, Susan, are we going to make all these changes here? Or?
Yes, right here now, because we have to sign this right here and now. So we don't have a whole lot more. There's just the ones that we left out. So here we are in local program. So after the second bullet in local coastal program use, you see here, okay, the CAC received updates from planning staff and consultants about the draft SLRVA in August of 2019. CAC was invited to make comments about the draft or to submit them. We were invited to provide draft. Hold on. We were invited to provide comments to or whatever, the draft SLVRA to the consultants and
Can
planning
we just
staff.
say the CAC received updates and provided comment or?
Yes, that's what I'm
provided
trying to do. My
comments
next sentence was
planning
going to say we
staff?
provided comments, but the CAC did not provide comments as an entity. Only you and I provided comments separately as people. We identified ourselves as members of the Coastal Advisory Committee, but we were submitting them as citizens because we did not have timing with the due date to have another CAC meeting.
But we
That's what-
provided comments during the meeting. I remember that.
Well, yes, we did, but we both wrote in written comments. So my comment is here. I don't know if it's here on this line. Chair, Vice Chair Campopiano and Chair Ambrose submitted independent comments and suggestions, which were considered. Many were used in the final draft of the SLRVA to the City Council. So that's why that information goes before the City Council. That
You
bullet before the
maybe
City
Just
Council.
shorten that to like recommendations by chair and vice chair were incorporated into the final document, just something like that.
Well, yes, but I think they should use our names because no one's going to know what year or what to look for.
Okay.
But if you provided comments as individual citizens, I don't know that
Yeah,
those should be listed in this coastal advisory
I
committee.
agree. I
accomplishments.
agree. Because I don't think that's, because then it's not a CAC. I mean, this
Right.
is CAC accomplishments. I agree with that. I just think we could just add a very simple, we received updates and provided comments to planning staff and consultants about the draft SLRVA.
I just added this last part to the
Yeah.
first bullet.
I think that's,
Yeah, I think Doreen's right. I think we should, and you're right too. We should indicate we were invited to but we did provide comments. We received the updates and we provided comments. Many were used in the final SLRVA to the city council.
But do we know that many were? That
Yes.
would have to go.
No,
we'd have to,
you know that I announced that at a meeting when we were going through that. Doreen read her letter to us. Many of her statements were used verbatim. I used concepts like outreach and other things of other programs, etc. And they used my statements as well. So those were used.
I understand that, but many is a subjective term, and
right.
Okay, provided comments, some of which were used in the final SLRVA. They were valued. We got letters of thanks.
Can we just say and provided comments that were used to help improve the SLRVA? I mean, just something generic if that's
Sure, yeah, we could do that.
okay.
Mhm. My intention is just to show that we didn't just sit there and listen. We actually participated to help. And now let's say to improve or to add to the SLRVA rather than help. Okay. Yeah, I think that gets the gist of what I was trying to say. Great, thank you very much. And then on the next item was the bottle refill station. I added a bullet here. And again, I'm not sure we want to include this or not since we just made, well, of course that was an emotion, but these are our actions. I said fundraising efforts will occur after all needed information is available and voted upon by the Coastal Advisory Committee. we could say voted upon by the coastal advisory, or we can say right here, we've advanced it to, this should be, the funding sources should be advanced to consider for consideration by the Beaches, Parks and Recreation Department. Doreen, how do you want to handle that?
Well, I don't think because I feel like that's a separate document. And a lot of these things that we're talking about, we are sort of going to be recommending that BPNR address. So I don't know. I think we could add in the things that, because we kind of expanded on our list. So refrigerated, filtered, tamper-proof, and dog-friendly water refill station.
And then we had a counter in there also.
Counter.
Okay, but we know now this is our last meeting, so we should put a sentence in there about what our recommendation is right now. What is our in progress? Our progress is we will be moving along this information to the Beaches, Parks and Recreation Commission.
But wouldn't we be saying that with all of them? Because, I mean, we're going to be moving on, you know, the pure bacteria, the sea level rise, all of that is going to be recommended to be moved forward. So we would have to add that to each one of them.
Well, that's a good point too. Up to the group. I'm on the fence on this one.
To me, this is like our accomplishments. It's not really our recommendations. I mean, moving it to BPNR is not an accomplishment in my view, but so I don't think.
I completely agree with what Doreen's saying. This should just be it should simply list in the most concrete, succinct fashion what has been accomplished.
Okay.
That's it.
I hate to leave these just dead in the water, but I get your points and I concur. Alrighty, then we're done with bottle refill station. I did add a comment on sponsored drive-ins. And it goes with, and again, promoted the importance of the environment by showing a family-friendly environmental movie. I wanted to add in that we also recommended that a mini eco short featuring real-life activities and solutions to improve clean oceans, clean beaches, and clean communities be shown as a little mini document short along with the movie. That was our original plan. We didn't do that, so it's not an accomplishment. Should we just leave it off, or should we recommend that that be done? This wasn't our whole goal, in other words. We have a drive-in movie night. It says completed, but we didn't complete the whole act of that. Because the short was supposed to be included along with the movie.
I would leave that out, because then it sort of would create a negative kind of like what.
Yeah, I know it creates a negative, but where can we put that? Maybe then that can be passed to BPNR when we look at the BPNR things of their consideration of seeing the mini docs. Okay. I have no other comments on that or the drive-in, and the chart is fine. I'm looking at the San Clemente Beautiful. We did not create a nonprofit. We created a program that we called, for right now, the San Clemente Beautiful program. So delete the word nonprofit, please. We did talk about it could become one, but we did not say we were doing that.
If I can just interject real quick here, Susan, that point about the suggested revision to the movie night, you may want to think about putting that in the transition recommendations.
Yes, that's what I
because
mentioned.
that's your list of to-dos to the BPNR, right?
Yes, that's a great idea. I concur completely.
Yeah, that way you don't lose it. It is a good idea. It's just to Doreen's point, we don't need to be listing things we didn't do, or that we thought about doing and we didn't do.
Well, yeah, and I indicated here what we don't need to hear it, but I indicated this ensures that critical thinking is used to the application of what they're learning. You can go to the movie and you say, what does that really mean to me? Well, when you look at that, the Lorax, and you think about it, and you see a little mini thing about kids in whatever island they are, or even in California, doing a program for clean beaches or clean oceans, whether it's straws, eliminating straws or plastics or whatever it is. You can
Yeah.
see it's actually happening with children, with communities, and making improvements. It makes it real for the viewer than when they see the movie, or vice versa.
It's a good idea. I don't know how exactly it occurs in action, but I agree it should be on the transition recognition list so that it's not lost.
Okay, great. Anyway, just out of functionality, I mean, on the San Clemente Beautiful, I instead of a San Clemente Beautiful program, I changed it to a program we called San Clemente Beautiful to host and co-host beach and inland San Clemente area cleanup events, including neighborhood and commercial areas. So I just switched that around so the focus was on the program. We were trying to create a program where we could increase our cleanups and our attention to our whole city. And then I voiced the whole point of there's so many parts of this that could grow into mushroom into other kinds of fields. So it wasn't so much the title as the program. We can still leave the title in, but the whole point was to create a program. So, okay. No takers on that. Well, then we'll just leave it as it is. So let's go down to the clean ocean fee. Oh, Cynthia, here's one that I thought we could add in, that the CAC recommended using current strategies and actions that you're doing right now in the public to publicize and market where clean ocean fee money is being spent. Now, since you've done those kinds of ads in the paper, I've certainly got a lot of compliments that I passed on to you, as a matter of fact, about people knowing, community members, taxpayers, knowing where their money's going with the clean ocean fee. So in that, where we have clean ocean fee education and community awareness program in progress, you've addressed the fee analysis only. I think you should also put a bullet there. The fee, it could be a bullet, but before the fee or even after the fee, that you could say that CAC recommended that you use examples, or however you're going to use it in your public awareness speech. I'll leave those words up to you. Recommended using real life strategies and BMPs really to create community awareness about clean ocean education. And you could give the examples of what you're doing. You've got various inspections, right? You've got street sweeping, you've got citations and all those other things. You can rattle those off more than I can. Bye.
I've got CAC recommended using outreach strategies, but you mean maybe CAC recommended promoting program elements, water quality program elements?
Well, whatever, yeah, I wanted you to use some of the words that you featured in your marketing, like how many inspections were done, how many tons of stuff was picked up in street sweeping. You made it into real life actions that they're taking in the city, so people know where their money goes. This is called community awareness and education.
Yeah.
And so something should be before inspections. What is it? What's before inspections when you put it in the newspaper? Now, I like the water quality in there. You could put clean ocean water quality programs. Yeah, I like those too. So where can you put water quality?
Isn't clean ocean the same thing as water quality?
Uh,
And it's an actual program.
Let me try and,
I think the way she has it's probably okay.
well, I think there's water quality more, it's in the pipes as well, it's in the sewer lines as well, it's not just the ocean.
There you go. That's it. That's good. I like that, Cynthia.
Yeah,
There you go.
but what kind of inspections there, Cynthia? You had a specific name for that, didn't you, in your marketing?
yeah, it's commercial inspections. I mean, but it's all a bunch of different inspections, commercial.
Yeah, there is a bunch of different ones.
Commercial, industrial, and municipal facility inspections. I could do facility inspections.
What do my colleagues think?
Yeah, that's fine. Facility. Well, I mean, facility is a little vague, but
It is pretty vague.
since it's multiple things, it's probably fine.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia.
Okay.
And so you want to put we're still carrying on the bullet feature, aren't we? So those two should be in bullets. Oh, in this section, we did not.
No, but I could do this. I could. Let me put the fee analysis on hold second.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
I see.
I guess we didn't use bullets in this section, did we?
No, we probably should. We should be consistent. And I also see a place right there where your cursor is on San Clemente Beautiful. We recommended creating that, but nothing's been done with it. We should say, just like we have in the past, what did I put there? Further action has not been taken due to COVID-19 and staff constraints. The same as we have on all the others.
Wouldn't do that, Susan.
No, we have those on all.
Really?
Yes, because it's important, because that's real life. It's not being negative. It's that we had constraints about, no, don't take that off.
No, she's copying it. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
just highlighting it.
Okay.
Yeah. You
No,
gonna
and all
copy-
those things we couldn't move on, they need to know why. And
Well, it wasn't
that's not being negative, that's just being realistic.
No, I'm fine. I'm with you.
It wasn't staff constraints because staff never committed to being part of San Clemente Beautiful. So,
Well, no, we're talking about progress on, well, you were the one who gave me that comment, Cynthia, on Heal the Bay. You said that
oh,
this was,
yeah, on Heal the Bay, yeah.
yeah, well, that's the same with all the other ones. I mean, with kinds of activities, we can't do inland beach cleanups, or we couldn't in the past year, we couldn't do those, so we didn't do anything further.
Yeah, for COVID.
Yeah, so that should be the same. That thing.
I'm not going to put staff constraints on San Clemente Beautiful because
Well, you were in charge of planning the beach cleanups.
beach cleanups, but not San Clemente Beautiful, all the inland cleanups.
Right.
Well, that's why we didn't do anything further, because we didn't allot time because of COVID-19.
Yeah,
Just like
but
all of the
also
other ones
think
say.
that Susan, we're trying to also, I mean, I'm kind of sort of thinking to sort of Charlie's previous comment about making sure that, we're talking about our accomplishments. Like, I don't think we need to justify why, every action wasn't taken. It's just sort of like, this is what we did. And kind of moving forward, if we want, like, if we do want BPNR to take on San Clemente Beautiful, then we would, ask them to do that. So
Well, we have it in progress. We have it in parentheses in progress. So we've not done any progress on it.
well,
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, we did. We put up those posters, you and I.
for San Clemente Beautiful.
No, we did not advertise San Clemente Beautiful. San Clemente is just a title of the program. That's why I keep saying we created a program to host and co-host beach and inland San Clemente area cleanups. That could be expanded to other things. The program was the catch-all there. And what we did last year, you and I and Zen, we took posters out to business and commercial areas, and they put those posters about the neighborhood cleanup for the month of September last year in their business windows. So we got on Del Mar and over in Trader Joe's Center, we got rid of over 150 posters.
That was for Coastal Cleanup Day.
Yeah, that was
Yes, it
coastal
was.
cleanup day, but that's different than San Clemente Beautiful.
Well,
That would
no,
go
it's
under
not.
that would go under like our outreach, I think.
Well, no, it co-hosts beach and inland San Clemente area cleanup events.
But then you would
Including
need-
neighborhood and commercial areas. That's what we were doing. We were putting those posters in businesses and in those areas where they could do neighborhood cleanups.
Right, but that wasn't San Clemente Beautiful. We were doing that under. I mean, I think what it would have been was, beach cleanup events, and you can, if you want to rephrase it, then you're going to have to change that title. I think it's fine as is, but
Okay, well, then we haven't done anything other than recommend then, but we have done. I mean, it took 2.5 days to get all those posters out.
right. But wouldn't that be under?
That was the activity that was done for the part of that definition that we recommended the program to host and co-host not only beach but inland San Clemente area cleanup events. It was a neighborhood and commercial plan. That's what we voted on. So
Right.
that's the only
We should
reason that I
change
passed
the
out those
title
posters.
To beach cleanup. And then talk about all of that in there if you feel like that is something we need to put in there.
But we can't change the title now. You can change it if you advance it. I mean, we made that recommendation and it was approved at the time. That's why I said in my comments that we created a San Clemente program that currently is called San Clemente Beautiful to host and co-host the da-da-da-da-da.
So you're saying we distributed posters under San Clemente Beautiful?
No, I'm saying we distributed posters to do the function of hosting beach and inland San Clemente area cleanup events, including neighborhood and commercial areas. That's exactly what I did.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that this heading is called San Clemente Beautiful. So to me,
But the goal there, it was created to do exactly what we did.
okay. Anyone else want to help out here? I feel like we're spinning.
Well,
I mean, San
the
Clemente
point is-
Beautiful, my understanding was the Coastal Advisory Committee was going to develop an inland cleanup program similar to RSM Zero Waste.
Right.
Just Santa Margarita, where you go out and recruit businesses to be like the host for an inland cleanup area. And then people would go to that business and there'd be t-shirts and that type of thing. But it just never came to fruition.
Well, it didn't come to fruition because of COVID-19 and time. We didn't have the time. You didn't have there were time constraints on all of us because of COVID-19.
But that was all related to Coastal Cleanup Day, because Coastal Cleanup Day, we couldn't hold central locations for volunteers to come and register due to COVID-19. So
That's right.
it was just California Coastal Cleanup Day. Okay, you can go clean up in your neighborhood.
No, I
But
understand
it
all
wasn't
that.
related to San Clemente Beautiful as a program that in the original thought of how it was to be created and implemented.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, in lieu of what we had, that is what we did. It was never intended to be only like the Laguna program or the Rancho Santa Margarita program. It was to be intended to do what was needed to get done what was needed. So I would still change that to say to create a program currently called San Clemente Beautiful. That's what I would do. Because you can see just between us, we had a different comprehension of that.
What do you want to say? CAC members recommended to create a
Program
called,
currently called San Clemente Beautiful.
currently called?
Yeah, and then you delete the word program, yeah. Well, okay, then if you don't want to put the posters in there, that's fine. That's, but it's definitely not in progress. It's only a recommendation. So it's really, what's the word you have there that you're using where we're not doing anything?
For me?
Yes,
Are you asking me where we're not doing anything? I don't know.
yeah, because we're not doing anything with this program thus far, other than recommend it. If you're not including putting the posters up or inland San Clemente area cleanups, et cetera, and beach cleanups, when we have it right there in our writing that it's to co-host beach and inland cleanups, it's not like the zero trash program, because we couldn't do zero trash because of COVID-19 and staff constraints. Simple as that. It's all true.
It doesn't
It's
have
all
anything to
positive.
do with staff constraints because
Well,
staff
then just say
never,
because of
staff did not
COVID-19.
commit to helping establish San Clemente Beautiful. We were willing to be able to provide the supplies if needed, but not staff the event.
I'm
But
not
if you
talking
want-
about this. You're taking that too personally. I'm talking about we didn't have the manpower because of COVID. Period. So that's, why don't you just say activity on this was stilled, or I don't know, progress on this was affected by COVID-19 constraints.
delayed due to COVID-19,
Well, you can use delayed if you want. Yes.
progress delayed.
Due to COVID-19 constraints. Because it was not, you couldn't gather, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You need to put a space between COVID and 19 or a hyphen?
Do
What were you doing
do
before?
that everywhere?
Oh, no, I wasn't paying attention to that. I just noticed it right now. I guess the one above it you did not. Okay.
Multiple locations. I can change it if you want.
Now, whatever you think is proper grammar, I think that there is a hyphen whenever I see it, though.
Sorry.
So then, let's see, I'm sorry. The Pochi Beach one, I think that was fine. I had a question about, is there anything else that we should add to this? Do we want to add the new project that's not funded yet, or the 100,000 was funded? The one we're talking about. Doreen, you and I talked about that for Pochi. Here we are. We're down on Pochi Beach bacteria source identification in progress. Oh, you need a double space between there, Cynthia. Between staff constraints and Pochi Beach.
And I'll do it up here too. This music.
Right there. Thank you. Sure, remember we talked about this new thing for Pochi. Should we include this on this for future? It's starting. Cynthia, has Dave started any of the testing or any of the things on that program?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave it up.
Request for proposal not released during work plan year.
Oh, okay. All right. Alrighty. Then I guess the last one is sand replenishment. We've got those two. Ocean water quality. I put, in addition to the assessment of weekly ocean monitoring between the 3 beaches, I put CAC has made recommendations or requests for recommendation, requests and recommendations for further investigation of sources of bacteria to environmental services and utilities. I mean, so when we make recommendations on those, you know, when we see those high numbers or exceedances, we don't just look at them and do nothing. We make recommendations to you and you follow up. We might make specific recommendations to you, or programs get started or solutions get planned. I think that should be in there, that we do make those kinds of recommendations. So we could just add it to the first bullet.
Well, that's part of our program. If we see bacteria exceedances at the shoreline, in our permit, staff are supposed to follow up and try and find the source, but we don't get that data for a couple weeks later. So when you go to follow up, it's totally different out there in the world. So to try and find the source that caused the bacterial exceedance 2 weeks prior is a challenge. And this is just a challenge amongst all co-permittees because they're in the same boat as us. So unless there's like a sewage spill or that's being followed up right then, we do our best to try and find those sources, but it's not something that we can actually find the source from data that comes in 2 weeks later.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to make the point that yes, we see those assessments weekly, or we see it monthly. The weekly ones we see monthly. But when we do see something and something stands out, we might question you. Was there a storm? What caused this, do you think? Was there a pipe failure or anything like that? But we make recommendations. We don't just sit on that information. We act on it. This just sounds like we look at it, we do nothing. Can we put in some action word there?
Well, I mean, that's what you guys do. I went through the meeting minutes to create this document, and there's not like any formal recommendations from the Coastal Advisory Committee. I mean, you don't necessarily say go out and find it to me. I mean,
well, we have done that in poaching and the pier. We took issue with the pier bacteria, and we said in the meeting that we needed to have a group of specialists to help us with that, not going to the usual people in the county who gave us the same information. We were very strong in making a proposal, a suggestion to you that we wanted some action to happen. Doreen, do you remember, were you at that meeting where we voted on that? Because I know you expressed some concerns about it.
Sorry, I'm meeting with.
We're talking about water quality. There should be something of action that says CAC is doing. Right now, there's only 2 bullets. One says we assess the weekly ocean monitoring of fecal indicator bacteria. The other one says 3 beaches show continued patterns of exceeding bacteria quality. We don't just sit there like bumps on the log. In situations like the pier and even Pochi, we've made suggestions, recommendations. What can we do now? This has been going on consistently for months. What needs to happen? We were the one that planted the germ that we needed to have other experts called in to talk to us about that, to explain to us, and to get together to find out what are the source of these kinds of problems. Is it old plumbing? Is it pipe connections? Is it whatever it is? We talked about that at great length at several meetings throughout my terms. So it's not like it's just we read it and fold it up and put it away. At some occasions, we've made assessments and recommendations to get more information or to get experts in to explain what's happening.
So do you want to add in something like assess and recommend and provide recommendations?
Yes.
On those.
That's what I was trying to do in the beginning.
I mean, you've already done that with the pier.
Yes, and we should do it with
We've got
water
that
quality
detail
in
there,
general.
but
Because
you
we
don't,
look at all the water quality tests.
yes, you look at the data, but unless there's a study going on, then that's where we're getting recommendations. We bring that before the Coastal Advisory Committee for special studies, because then we have experts that are out in the field that can make the observations and actually are collecting water quality samples and data to analyze. But
Cynthia, I know all this. You're not listening to me. I am saying that's
Yeah,
not
but
all we
thank
do is
you.
sit there. We
I
make
know.
recommendations when there's a continuation of bacteria at certain sites, like we've done with Pochi in the past. That's why the falcons came in, and all of the other kinds of things that have happened. The second look at the center down there at Pochi, the ultra wave, we questioned that and then there were some problems with the actual mechanics of running some of the gears down there, that they were too old and so they were not as effective. That was one of the reasons that was causing part of the problem at Pochi, we were told. But if we didn't ask those questions, I don't know. My point is, we take action when we see continual problems at certain beaches or an unusual spike at beaches. So that should be noted here, that we're actively involved.
I don't, in the last 2 years, I mean, I come to you with like Pochi Beach. We've had efficiency problems. So then between me and the county and South Coast Water District, we determine what needs to be repaired. And then I present that information to you, but you're not making the recommendations to me. I'm doing that as a staff person to try and improve the efficiency of Pochi Beach. And then,
Okay,
then there's the
we
pier,
are,
but you do not make recommendations. The Coastal Advisory Committee has not made recommendations for me to go investigate something based on the water quality data, except
Okay.
for when there's a study, such as the pure bacteria.
we have asked,
Association.
this is not about a power grab or anything like that. When we see a spike in, I'm just being redundant now and wasting everybody's time. The fact is, we do act, we do comment, we do question, we ask you to call in some experts to come and talk about these problems, etc. Hence, and I've given several examples. It's remiss to leave that out. It looks like we just sit there and look at it and do nothing. The fact is, we do notice it, we ask questions, and we make recommendations as appropriate. Do we do it all the time? No, because we don't need to do it all the time, because there's nothing usual or a continual rise like the pier. So I am just asking, like Doreen suggested, ongoing assessment and recommendations regarding results of bacteria sampling or something like that. That should be included here because we do that. But Doreen, do you want to fix that question or that bullet there that would be more accurate as to what I'm trying to say and more concise as what Charlie is suggesting as well?
How about provide additional input on those beaches that exceed water quality objectives?
Okay, that sounds good to me. Thank you, Doreen. Okay. And when Cynthia's is done, I have a correction on street sweeping or something that, here we have, it's the second bullet under street sweeping. It says, CAC members elected to delay sending a recommendation to the city council to consider expanding enforcement of street sweeping parking restrictions to all public streets until after the Clean Ocean Fee Program renewal process is complete. We did agree to do that. However, we also voted to send a recommendation to the city council on expanding enforcement of street sweeping parking restrictions to all public streets We voted on that to send that. It was never done. So I put CAC members voted to send a recommendation to the city council to consider expanding enforcement of street sweeping parking restrictions to all public streets. But elected to delay that action until after the Clean Ocean Fee Program renewal process is complete. We made the recommendation to send to City Council. It never got there. And because we found it never got there and the Clean Ocean Fee was coming up, we agreed to hold off asking for money for street sweeping until after the Clean Ocean Fee Program renewal process is complete. You all, many of you remember when Kenny came in and made his plea. Gary, were you on board when that happened? When Kenny came in and made his plea on street sweeping, were you with us?
Yes.
Okay, and you recall us voting to send that recommendation to the city council?
Right.
Okay. After today. Okay, so that's done then. The dog beach is fine. Ongoing is fine. I am done with all my comments.
Actually, just sorry, I did have one other thing I picked up on. I forgot about.
Oh, no problem, Charlie. Please.
Sorry, the dog beach access probably needs to be revised, unless there's something that I wasn't aware that we had done. But it seems like we kind of unilaterally made a recommendation to City Council for no location for on or off leash dog access. I don't remember us doing that. I just remember us supporting what the BPNR had done. Unless
that's what we did. That was what it was written in my notes, and that's what I supported when I spoke before the city council. And they didn't.
Okay.
They accepted what I said.
Okay, so now I think just make sure I'm understanding. I think it needs to be rewritten just to say the CAC recommended that City Council uphold current rules and support the CAC the CAC recommended that the City Council uphold current rules and expressed support for BPNRs and go ahead, right, and express support.
Yes, I did have that in my notes.
For BPNR Commission.
Yeah.
Recommendation, BPNR's recommendation to City Council regarding on or off leash dog access to city beaches. There you go.
Rules and support for BPNR Commission's
Recommendation to City Council regarding on or off leash dog access.
Well, we voted for no dogs on the beach.
Right, but like I said, unless I missed something, it was just basically us saying that we supported what BPNR had done. We had not actually unilaterally gone off and made a determination that there should be no dog access. Did we?
Yeah, we did.
From the recommendation, that language was, but it doesn't mean you have to have exactly what you had in your recommendation.
Well, I did include, Charlie, in my comments to the city council. I distinctly indicated that yes, and we not only did we uphold that we recommended the city council uphold the current dog beach access rules and regulations. I said rules and regulations, but we also expressed support for BPNR Commission's recommendations to city council regarding no access to on or off leash dogs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're saying the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
So we did the both.
Yep.
Okay. And I can show you that in writing if you need that.
No, all good.
Okay, so I am done with all of that. And this is an action item. Do we want to go through? Do you want to do spell check? Do you want to do anything you need to do, Cynthia? Do we have those statements, with those phrases all consistent in font and type and all that stuff?
Let me see how this formatting rules. Oh yeah, that worked out good. Here's page 1. No, here's page 1. And then here's page 2. And then I did a page break for the sustainability grant. And so that table just rolls on to that second page and is a clean cut to this next
Oh, that's
page.
nice.
Yeah. And then I might be able to put additional key topics on the next page, but
No, it looks fine there,
okay.
especially since we're talking about poaching and what bacteria it all fits in.
I could actually do a page break here.
Yeah, but it looks the ocean water quality. That's what I was saying because of poaching on the same page. I think it looks good there.
Oh, what was that? You like ocean water quality here?
Yeah, I think it's fine. Oh, you didn't want to break up the bullets. I see.
Right.
Oh, that's fine. I think you're right. Yeah, do it your way.
Okay.
Is everybody good with this?
Let me put, do you want me to put when it was revised in small up here?
Yes.
I can do,
Or you can say completed
okay.
because it is completed.
I can make it tiny, you know what I mean? And move
Yeah.
it over to the right. Not bold. And wonder if I can do it at the bottom.
I think that would be better.
Got it.
That's what I always look for at the bottom. So we're going to change revised to completed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I can just keep the date.
Well, no, it is completed unless anybody has any changes right now because this is all we can do on this.
Let me make this a little smaller.
I'm seeing here in some of your comments, go down a bit to that last and the next bunch. Like, see here on local coastal program, you've got double spaces between some of these things on this page, but on the page above it, go ahead, more. Oh, okay. Well, I guess those bullets are fine tight. That would change your thing. But below that, you have some that are,
Yeah, let me do this. Let me make these bullet points are different. Let me make them consistent, right?
yes,
You want them to look similar.
yes,
Right?
yes.
Sketch. Hold on, let me do it to these ones too. This format painter is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know why that went smaller. Hold on. Should be 14. Okay, there's that.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
Okay. Oops. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, there should be double space, like between street sweeping there. Shouldn't they? You're trying to be consistent? I'm
What do
confused.
you want, double space?
Well, I thought you were being consistent. Don't you have double spaces between most of those others?
I don't know what you're asking.
Oh, you, okay. Well, it looks better with double spaces in between there, but it's easier to read that way.
You mean in between each bullet?
When you have when you have a whole bunch of text, yeah, it's easier to read. Like those are easier to read separated, like they are.
I know. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm sorry.
Well, it's a bullets. Yeah, I think it's easier to read with this double space between the bullets.
I don't have double space between bullets.
I know, I'm saying it's easier to read if you did.
Right. Then that's going to make this 6-page document into a 7-page or 8-page document. If I put a double space between all of these bullets, we're going to have at least an 8-page document.
Well, that doesn't matter. It's easier to read.
Well, that's going to take me time, and I'm not. That'll take me 15 minutes to do, if not more.
Well, you can do that when we're starting Jorene's with the beaches, parks, and rec if you want.
No, I can. I can't multitask doing admin work. Sorry. But you guys can approve the language.
So you're going to make the space changes after?
I kind of would prefer not.
Well, look at what you've done here. Look even on the front page here, Cynthia. See, those are double spaced right there.
They're not double spaced.
Well, there's a space between them. Would you go up to page 1, please? Do you see those dots there, the bullets? In between each of these sections is a space. There's a double, so between your bullets.
Yeah, they're not
okay, and here too. So up by the mission statement, there should be a space between each of one of those. Yes.
I can go through and try and make the bullets consistent, but I don't want to do it during the meeting.
Okay, well, if you do it after the meeting, that's fine. It's all we have to vote on right now then is the, see, you have it done here and you have it done
I
here.
See that.
So let's just make the motion to
Thank you.
move to approve the CAC accomplishments 2019-21 as amended during our CAC meeting.
Yes, to include the format changes still needed, which are very few. I second that motion, Doreen. All in favor, thumbs up, please. Okay, all in favor, 4-0. Thank you for your participation and cooperation on this. Wasn't easy. So a question here, Cynthia and colleagues. When we have these committee accomplishments from 2019 to 2021, I know Doreen, where her beaches, parks, and rec is including the work plan from 2019 to 2020. We could do the same. Cynthia created, remember the Coastal Advisory 2021 work plan action steps, and she also created the 1920 somewhere in our cast of folders here. It's after the 18th, 19. They were action items. So do you want to include any extraneous stuff that we've done in the past as backup information? And remember, we have essentially three new city council members. 2 of them are brand new. That's Chris Duncan and Steve Knobloch. And Mr. James is on for his 2nd year, but he was finishing Steve Schwartz's term. So I don't know that they've seen all of those things from prior years. Do you want to include those as just backup items behind our newly created accomplishments? I think it would be a good idea because they'll see where we started from. Any comments? Yay, nays, anything?
I mean,
So if I ask Cynthia to include the 20,
yeah,
20, go ahead.
yeah, no, if you think that it adds value, then just include it on our accomplishments.
I think it would add value because those people who don't know, because they haven't been on board, don't know all the things we've done in the past that have led up to this. And it certainly illustrates how much work in various fields in the coastal arena we've been involved in. So Cynthia, would you make a note to that effect, please?
So what is it that you want me just to include the accomplishments from 2017 and 2018 and then 2018 and 2019?
And then you have the 2021 work plan action. Although we pretty much covered that in our accomplishments, but it's the 2019 plan that Jareen is including in her BP and R stuff. It's very detailed and it's very important. This one?
Right, which we're getting ready to discuss.
Well, this is already a done deed. I don't know that that Jareen's not including this. I'm just saying this would be good backup.
I think she just wants it as an attachment.
Yes.
So just.
But the document that you're holding up right now, Susan, I'm not 100% sure, but this is the transition recommendations document that you're going to work on now, which has all the 29.
They're going to a different purpose. One is going to the city council.
It is?
Yeah, our action items, our accomplishments are going to the city council.
Okay.
Yes, that's why I'm saying this backup information is going to be helpful for the people who weren't on city council last year and the couple years before that. So let's include the plans that we had for those years. So 18 to 19 and then 2019.
Okay, let me pull up some documents so I know what you're talking about. Hold on.
I can show you. I have them here.
I think it's just, the document, Susan, or Cynthia, that I used to help create the transition document.
Right. That's here's your recommendations. So on my screen, can you see this on the screen?
See how I said listed
about that
in the 2019 work plan?
Can you see this on my screen?
Yes.
So here's your recommendations on these first 2 pages. Then here's that long document from 2019 that you guys used to create the 2019. All these items. Is that what you're talking about?
We should include that in our accomplishments of what we've done in the past.
Okay, so when you get to this document, which is on the agenda right now, maybe you want to remove these first 2 pages from this, I guess, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying anything. If Jareen wants to use it as is, she should. It's going to beaches, parks, and recreation.
I think so, Cynthia, I think what Susan is saying is that the accomplishments is going to city council, and she just wants to make sure city council sees the 2019 document that is also in the beaches, parks, and recs transition.
Right. Okay. Yep. That's fine. You guys just tell me how you want me to what you want me to do.
As well as the 2018-19. That looks like this.
So
they're my talking points.
Yes. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was asking. There was 2017 and 18 accomplishments. And then there was a 2018-19 accomplishments that you and I worked together on, Susan, both of those years.
Yeah.
And then now we've got the 2019 to 2021, covers 2 years. partly because COVID was in there and we didn't have a whole lot of meetings. And
That's
then there
right,
was this
and-
then there was this document that was created,
2019.
just the 2019 that you guys used to create your actual 2020 annual work plan.
That's right. So they will see the consistency in the kinds of things that we've done. You can leave off 17 to 18 because we didn't use those years, but use 18 to 19 since we're covering 2019 to 2021.
Okay.
So the 2018 to 2019, the 2019 work plan and the goals and objectives is the same one that Jareen is using, and the recent 19 to 21. That will all be a packet to go to the city council. And in terms of presenting it to the city council, shall we write a letter to announce that we've done this? Since our committee is no longer, how do you people, what are you recommending to get this to the city council?
Pardon me, Chair Ambrose. Are you talking about the accomplishments still?
Yes, we're trying to, I'm asking my colleagues how they want to get this material to the city council. Shall we present it in a city council meeting? Should we just send it to them by a letter?
Just have
just-
Cynthia draft an email including the accomplishments and send it to the mayor.
Well, we should send it to the whole city council because that's what
Okay,
they
send it to
voted
the whole
on.
city council.
I
That's
can't-
fine.
Yeah, I would send it to my supervisor,
Okay, perfect.
and then he can direct that to city manager, and he can. That's
Oh, well
the
then,
process
okay.
for me. So.
Okay, then I disagree with that because I've been told countless times, we report to the city council and we should send things directly to them. I can't tell you how many times. So we should draft a letter. Cynthia, you can still draft a letter if you want, and we can send it to the city council. If you've got by your obligation to send it to Dave, then we can send it from here. I mean, from our CAC. Jareen, would you like to draft a letter to the city council about what we're submitting to them?
Well, couldn't Cynthia just CC our committee on what she submits? I mean, I'm not sure what.
Cynthia will be going through a different process. She'll be going through Dave, and then Dave will be going through whoever he reports to now, which is probably the city manager. And then that will then determine whether it gets to the city council. This needs to go to the city council. A lot of things haven't gotten to the city council. I'm told by council members on occasion, they don't get them. So it's probably based on whatever the other executives think is pertinent at the time. But since our committee is closing down now, it's pertinent that we send this information to them in a timely way.
Okay.
And we discussed this with the mayor as well.
Then Susan, maybe as chair, I would just have something come from you then. Like if you want to take the final that Cynthia did, you could send it directly to council, right?
Yeah, I can do that. I can CC all of you. It'll be short and direct.
As long as there's no objections from the other members, that's fine to do.
Yeah, okay.
Fine
Do
by
we
me.
let's do a straw vote on that so we can move this along. A thumbs up if you're all in favor of my drafting a letter to send to the city council along with the things that we did tonight and those 3 attachments. Thumbs up. There's 1, 2, 3. Gary? Okay, unanimous. Okay, will do. Thank you.
And Susan, I'll work with you on that, and I'll get the documents all prettied up and in PDF format so that you can send to them. Okay?
Thank you, Cynthia. I
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
You bet.
And if you have some formal language you want to suggest, I'd be receptive to that as well.
Okay.
Okay, know that I am going out of town from the 25th to the 30th of August.
Okay, we'll get that done before that. Well, before that. Okay?
All right.
Yep.
All righty. Thank you very much. Let us move on then to Beaches, Parks and Rec. And Jareen, I'm actually going to turn this over to you right now, since you did most of the work on this plan and you did it very well. So would you mind?
Yeah, so I'll just keep it simple with kind of what I had sort of envisioned. So what I tried to do is I wanted to sort of convey to DP&R kind of everything that we looked at, which I thought that instead of rewriting it all, I thought our 2019 document that we had created really will give them a full breadth and perspective of everything that we covered in coastal advisory. So I kind of used that as the template and then just added in what I thought, and this is just my view, that I thought that should be their kind of key focuses. So, one of the things I thought was important was that, we reviewed the ordinance that the city had adopted about incorporating the CAC function into BPNR, and then also the importance of incorporating the mission statement of the CAC into BPNR. Because otherwise a lot of that function will be lost if we don't do that. And then recommending that the BPNR review both our annual work plan and then that 2019 plan, which I attached, and then identify key items that they want to incorporate into their future work plan. And then I included, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I included 6 things that I think BPNR should continue focusing on. And then the way I wrote it was I just kind of had the topics in bold, and then I just sort of had a laundry list of things I wanted them to consider as they looked at that issue. So it was beach nourishment, ocean and storm water quality, the sea level rise, vulnerability assessment, continuing our grant programs if possible, pursue reduction of plastics, zero waste goal, and then education and outreach. So I kind of used this as a starting block and wanted to get, feedback from you all on whether you thought, did I miss something? Is there things that should be added? Just so we have something to start from.
Well, one of the things that I mentioned to you before, and only because I function better this way, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean everybody else functions this way. The descriptions that you have in each of these categories, and I like the fact that you've identified the categories, but these short little sentences are all action oriented. So they're all to-do items. And I think rather than seeing them clustered in a paragraph like it is, I think it would be better viewed and better understood to a new commission and a new director to that. Well, actually she's not new to the program, but Samantha's new to all these coastal action items. I would recommend that you bullet these, whether you put them in, some of them are short enough to put in one column. It doesn't look like, I would put them in separate bullets under each of these titles so that they know that they don't have to do all of these things at one time. And maybe if you even had a priority order for these, and you might have a priority order, but even if you bulleted them, it doesn't mean they have to be in priority order if that would take you too long. I'm just saying to you, it would be easier reading and more palatable for a new commissioner, because they have 6 new commissioners and Bart coming back. And you and Ben are the only ones who've got sufficient coastal knowledge. So I think if you bullet these, it'll be more palatable, it'll be easier, it'll be more comfortable for people to understand what you're talking about, and you can refer to those bullets, even if you want to number them rather than bullet. So you can just say beach nourishment number 4 or something like that. So they can instantly have a relationship with that if they're not in tune or educated or aware of all of these terms. And it may just sound presentational, but it makes a difference in people's receiving this kind of information. So I don't know what you think about what I've just suggested, but I think that you'd get a lot more cooperation from people and their interests if you separated those by bullets or numbers. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, so I just said I'm okay if we want to go through and bullet things, but I think before that, I want to make sure that everyone's in agreement on kind of the approach that I outlined and then the major categories. Because I think if people don't agree, then we don't need to, bullet list the nitty gritty that I just, like I said, this was more of a brainstorm than.
Yes.
I would just tell you from my seat, I mean, I didn't go through every single nook and cranny because once everything gets going, you guys are going to create your own agenda anyways. Because, these things are not static, they're dynamic. So, but that's not to say that you should lose what you have and what the ideas are. So, I agree with what Susan's saying. I think I kind of lost what the difference between page 1 was, and then jumping to page like 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know why 1 was bulleted and 1 wasn't, and why they were separated, and why the mission statement was in the middle.
Yeah.
It just seems sort of clunky to me. I think the mission statement should be up front, and then I mean, maybe this is your executive summary. I don't know, but I don't think you need to have an executive summary, to be totally honest with you. I think you can have some sort of introductory letter and then just jump into the laundry list of transition recommendations, and then your front page can be your mission statement. But I wouldn't separate. I wouldn't have an executive summary. I would have them, because I think that's what Susan's probably harping on and why she's getting confused. Is that you got what seems like an executive summary up front, and then you actually have the details starting on 4. The other thing too, just a minor thing. Remember, the BPNR thinks they're, at least we used to think we were big stuff. So,
Well, you are. You were. You are.
I'm not there anymore, so it doesn't matter what I think. But the one thing I just suggest you revise is the second sentence in the introductory page. It says, this document reviews the mission of the Coastal Advisory Committee and highlights those actions that we believe should be the primary focus of the BPNR.
Oh, I didn't see that word primary.
You need to soften that. It should say, should be the primary focus of the BPNR as it relates to issues that were related to the Coastal Advisory Committee. It seems to smack of Coastal Advisory Committees here, our issues are here, and that should supersede everything else the BPNR has been thinking about for the past couple of years.
Well, see, and I mentioned to you, we don't want to make this look like we're trying to turn BPR into a Coastal Advisory Committee.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they want at all.
Yeah. Doreen, you're on mute, by the way.
Doreen, you're on mute.
Okay, now I was agreeing with everything Charlie was saying, because we don't. I can see how that reads that, because I think I was coming from the perspective of these are the CAC things that the BPNR should consider, but that's not how it reads. So we need to change that.
Yeah. Just however you wordsmith it is fine. Just soften it.
So let's change it to and highlights the actions that we believe should be the coastal focus of the BPNR.
The coastal issue focus. Delete primary.
Okay.
Should be the coastal issue focus.
I wouldn't do that. You're once again, you're sort of hitting on something that once again kind of leads to what everybody was believing, which is there was a lot of overlap between the two committees. What you're saying in that, what you're suggesting in that is that BPNR didn't focus on coastal issues, but they did. So I would probably just, I would just say those actions we believe, the document reviews the mission of the Coastal Advisory Committee and highlights those actions we believe.
How about, and highlights the CAC actions?
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
How about CAC related actions?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I like that CAC related, yeah. Well, then what are you doing with that we believe should be the focus of BPNR? You're deleting that, correct?
No, this document reviews the mission of the CAC and highlights the CAC related actions that we believe should be a focus, should be a focus of BPNR. Yeah.
What about should be included in BPR work plan?
No, I would just leave it as BPNR. It doesn't necessarily have to be part of the work plan per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm
not every issue that comes before a committee or a commission needs to necessarily be in the work plan.
Okay. I guess I'm still questioning the word of focus. Should it be the focus? The highlights, that's CAC related actions that we believe should be a focus of the BPNR.
Yeah. Should be a focus of BPNR as it relates to CAC related actions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just, if it's okay, I wanted to show what Charlie was mentioning. See these first 2 pages here
Yeah.
are really the CAC recommendations to the BPR Commission. This next page here
It's
was
all
our
back up.
2019 work plan.
Yeah.
And so this is where just earlier we discussed pulling this whole document out separate. I'll go back to our original. We have the 2019 one. And then we would include this whole long document, the subsequent pages, with the list of documents that Susan's going to send to City Council. And then the BPR recommendations would just be these 2 pages. These 2 pages would be separated from this one. Okay.
Starting with page 4, along with the accomplishments should be an appendix.
Yeah, page 3.
I mean, that was the point, was that
Yeah.
all that stuff attached was just supposed to be supplemental, so that if they're
Yeah.
reviewing that, they could go back and look at things. So yeah, you could either, I just have it all in one.
Cynthia, starting with page 4 of the transition recommendations, take that and make that an appendix.
Yes.
But actually, page
The mission.
page 3 here is our mission statement. So,
Well, you're referencing the mission statement up front, so you might as well include the mission statement and the actual documentation along with it. It's a nice overview along with the overview points that Doreen made. But then when you're getting into the nooks and crannies, the actual like granular detail on page 4, have that be an appendix. Going forward, I'm saying page 4 to whatever it is.
okay, so we previously just discussed that this document from page 3, it has a different header. I can pull it up, but this was a previous document. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, the mission statement was put into 5 bullets.
I know it's confusing, so let me.
It's easier for them to understand in bullets.
We're not talking about bullets right now. We're just talking about this document. So here's this document.
So am I.
This is in order to carry out its mission. This was the 2019. This is all the CAC members that were seated at that time provided feedback to me. And then the CAC went through all those items and created this document. Let me try and. So instead of it making it appendix, I mean, I can just include this 2019 work plan, which has the mission statement. And then here we go with all the sand replenishment and all those other things, which is just like this, except it has a different header.
Right.
I can keep the mission statement here. I can put the mission statement on the top so they can read that first, because you had mentioned that, or I can keep it at the end.
I think you should put it at the top, like Charlie was suggesting. You want to let them know what we do.
I don't know if it necessarily, I don't know if I've got a horse in the race as to where it's placed. I mean, it's usually kind of,
Okay,
usually something
I
that's.
would just keep it as an appendix because
okay,
otherwise it's gonna get lost. I mean, because I think what we want is them is to focus on our here's the things we want you to focus on. And then, and then we talked about in the beginning how we want to incorporate the mission statement into BPNR. And then you could just say see attached and then have attachment 1 mission statement, attachment 2 2019 work plan.
okay.
Yeah,
This is the 2019 work plan. This is the first page of it. And it has the mission statement,
Okay.
Cool.
in order to carry out its mission. This is,
well,
So
yeah,
that-
but you're defining the scope of what you're going to be talking about, what you're planning for. That's what those mission statements do, and that's how we created our work plan from those mission statements.
right.
Hey, Cynthia, if you're going to do that, that's fine. Just as a, to make sure that it's clear, then if you're going to do it that way, and then I would just put after, this document reviews the mission of the Coastal Advisory Committee.
Right.
I would just put in parens, I would put Appendix 1 or something like that. And then highlights, blah, 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 blah.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just so they have a reference to where the mission statement's placed.
Okay.
Because it's not going to actually be in the letter.
Okay, so you could just take out that last sentence, like below you will find a copy, because we're just
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
You want me to
look
do
at
that?
what Charlie mentioned in the first place, the difference between page 1 and page 2. Suddenly you look like you're in we're in a different book.
Go up there a little bit.
Yeah.
Cynthia, go up to that first paragraph. Just put in the sentence says this document reviews the mission of the CAC and highlights. Go back up. I'm sorry. One more
I'm
time.
sorry.
Stay,
Okay.
stay right there.
All right.
This document reviews the mission of the CAC, and just put right there after that, after CAC, just put paren appendix, see appendix 1.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Let's do appendix 1.
Assuming or see appendix, whatever.
Okay.
I assume you're going to call it C appendix 1. I'm just making an assumption there. So,
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then to Doreen's point, you can drop down to the second page and just delete that thing at the bottom. There you go. Below you'll find you can delete that.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so Doreen, do you want to go through your paragraphs on page 1?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, do we want to make sure that, does anyone want to add another major bullet point or major topic to focus on, or do you disagree with any of those?
Well, I'd like to see,
Fine.
can you scroll
It's just-
down, Cynthia? I want to see what there is for community involvement and education. So education and outreach via website, social media, Earth Day, Ocean Fest, Coastal Cleanup Day, Drive-In Movie Night. So Charlie, I'm looking at you right now and thinking there's got to be a lot of things involved with parks and other things that the BPNR commission with, because there's all new commissioners, as I mentioned to you, except for John. And would increasing or having more community outreach and participation and education opportunities other than these special days, are there volunteer opportunities for things to go on like on a daily basis? I know that BPNR had that book program, book boxes, where you'd have like what looked like a birdhouse out somebody's house or by a business, and you exchanged books there. So there were volunteers programs volunteers ran those programs. But there's all kinds of other things. I'm just wondering if there's more room in beaches, parks, and recreation for community involvement.
Well, I mean, they do recreation. I mean, recreation has all the stuff that they do, right? The summer programs and.
Well, I meant for volunteers, for people to get involved into the nuts and bolts and stuff like that. I know that you've got great programs, and I'm in the swimming one already, and I love it. And I've been in those before, and I recommend them highly. But I'm just thinking from the leadership position of commissioners, are there things that you can recruit people to help you do things, to accomplish things in BPR? In other words, do you need other players that are volunteers to get things done in BPNR?
I don't think so. I mean, that's probably a question for Samantha Wiley. I mean, you know, BPNR is staffed pretty nicely. Cynthia knows that better than I do, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't quite know how to answer that question. I mean, it's not like they're going to you're not going to have city people volunteering in recreation programs per se, unless they're like fully vetted and hired by the city. So I don't know.
Well, I guess I'm thinking of an example of, like a beach cleanup. People will come from their communities and do a beach cleanup, or like the zero waste. People come from businesses or communities to get involved.
Well, I think that kind of gets into. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
That kind of gets into the whole thing of whether or not, and hopefully I'm not saying anything that anybody's going to get shocked over. Is whether or not BPNR is going to adopt lock, stock, and barrel everything that we recommend them to do, like beach cleanup. It's possible that they'll adopt everything that we mentioned to them. Obviously, Joreen will be there to be a champion for all the stuff that we did, but it's distinctly possible that they don't adopt everything. And so something like beach cleanup is not necessarily a city-driven volunteer opportunity per se, as it was with the CAC. So.
Okay.
Hate to rain in on anybody's parade.
No, that's enlightening, and that's what I needed to know. And I think what Joreen, that is helpful for Joreen too as she advances. So
it may be more of so I would imagine some things would probably be more a function of don't press me on what it could be, because I don't know, and I can't hypothesize what it could be. But you think of Friends, right? Friends is a perfect example. Friends picks up things that the city doesn't do.
Yeah.
And maybe the CAC, kind of the CAC as it once existed, now it's kind of its functions and things are folded into BPNR. Maybe the things that they're not going to do as a city, as a commission, maybe those things need to be taken up by an entity that is similar to Friends, if you follow what I'm saying.
I do. Yeah, I follow.
Because Friends, perfect example. Friends runs the skate park program, skate park competition. Yeah. I don't think BPNR is going to run that. They haven't run that, and so Friends picked that up. So if BPNR drops the ball on, just as an example, and I'm just picking on beach cleanup, and they may love it, they may do it, they may embrace it, they may do it all the time. But if by chance they just kind of said, hey, we've only got so many hours in the day, so many people to cover things, they drop the ball on that. Maybe somebody comes along and is opportunistic and creates an entity that's similar to Friends of San Clemente, and they pick up the ball and do beach cleanup.
Yeah, I mean,
but I also think that
go ahead, Joreen.
I just wanted to check I wasn't on mute. I mean, some of these things, just because CAC is folded into BPR doesn't mean that all of CAC's function remains within BPNR. I think, Cynthia, you're still going to be going to Earth Day and the cold. I mean, isn't the city going to have their booths up at those events? I mean, that's not going away, right?
Yeah, city staff's going to coordinate Coastal Cleanup Day. We've been doing that for 30 years.
Yeah. And
we will also assist citizens and groups who want to hold their own private beach cleanups, for 10, 25, 50 people. We still coordinate with them and we'll provide them the supplies. Now, Earth Day with Watershed Task Force in limbo, because they coordinated all getting all the vendors and all that stuff. I don't know that staff's going to have the time to do that. Not between Dana and me. Ocean Fest, we don't really do anything with that. I mean, that's all beaches, parks and rec, and then drive-in movie nights. If they want to include it, I don't see why they wouldn't include an environmental movie. I mean, I could see them doing that easily, since they would probably just be doing a drive-in movie night anyway, and so we pick a environmental movie. So, but again, there's probably some type of work plan, I guess, that we're going to have to submit to City Council. That BPR Commission is going to have to submit to City Council for approval.
Right. I mean, these are just, and like I said, like, these are just, you know, kind of recommendations. They don't have to, you know, it's
Right.
just, you know, ensuring that, you know, we continue to do education and outreach, which we do as a city anyway. And I think that the CAC and probably, you know, BPNR would continue to support the city. Outreach.
Hey, Doreen, I just want to be clear. I think they're good recommendations too. I was just trying to say, I have no idea how the new BPNR commission is going to act. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's going to be a period of education there, plainly, Doreen. You know, you saw your colleagues that were selected. So
they're going to be
they're
drinking
eager to learn,
hydrant.
but some of these are going to be way over their head.
Yeah, they're going to be drinking from a fire hydrant for a little while.
Yeah, I agree. So,
well, I'll just echo what Susan was saying. There's one of two ways you can go about sort of sprucing up the front end of the document, X the appendix. You can either make this stuff bullet pointed, or you can sort of spruce up sort of the transition grammar. But right now, the way it reads, it does read in a bullet pointed fashion. So however you want to do it, Doreen, it's your document. So
Yeah, I mean, let's just put bullet points in there.
Okay.
And then, you know.
and that way you can organize them the way you want. You know, you're going to want to sit down with Samantha and review these. And if I were you, I would put them in some priority order before you did that, so they're not just random, you know, in a random sequence. So that way you're sharing your expertise and knowledge of how to get things done from the beginning to the end, rather than just a throw everything in her face kind of thing. You know, whatever sticks will be worked on. But
well, I think that probably was, I mean, the things that I kind of came up with first were probably my priorities of how the order. So the order is probably shows my preference, but we could move that around. I mean, I don't know if we have the time to kind of order them, you know, exactly as it's.
Well, here's just an example. Like, you've got develop a regional, and I think these are great. I told you before on the phone. You've got the develop a regional solution for South Orange County sand loss, and then continue the focus movement towards federal sand project. Yes. Invite Chris Webb from Moffett Nickel to present on the need to form a South Orange County regional team. I would probably put him first, so they even know what you're talking about. They can actually visualize and see those slides that he shared with us, you know, the information. And then they realize, oh, wow, this is really going on. It's like somebody going down to Capo Beach Park right now and seeing it when you used to live down there. I used to live down there, and I see it now, and I'm just like, what? What happened? I mean, how did this happen? I mean, it's so, and the same thing. Surfrider had 2 videos of June this year of the water, one in low tide and one in high tide, and one with a storm coming in. And it was, I mean, the commissioners, the California commissioners, were shocked at the difference of the high level water rise hitting patios. They showed them one day in a sequence in June, and then another day in a different week in June. And they kept saying, is that the same year? Is that the same month? Holy cow. So when you see those things for real, it makes a difference, and you want to understand more and do more. And I think this bullet list is easier for people to look at and say, okay, we go from point A to point B. But, the easier things that have visuals, as you know well, and even some of your acronyms there should be spelled out, so that people know what you're talking about.
The good
That's just my
thing,
recommendation.
the good thing, Doreen, is that you're going to be there, and so this is going to be a working document as opposed to our
Yes.
as opposed to our list of accomplishments, which is
Exactly.
more of a memorial to what the committee's done. So I don't know that you necessarily need to get into the whole prioritization thing here. I don't think we should, but Cynthia, very good skills on Word.
Oh. It's
Yeah,
also important.
You're showing me some things I don't. I'm an Excel guy as a finance guy, but this is it's fun to watch you do this. But
I know you were doing
yeah,
great.
I
So,
think
Doreen,
other than that, I think I don't know if we have to take a vote on this, but it seems like it's good to me. We should probably move on.
well, we do have to take a vote on it, but back up.
Okay.
Can you identify all the anachronisms here now, Doreen, please?
I can't remember what SCOOP stands for.
Is it Southern California?
Can't remember.
I
I
can't
can
either.
go find it though. I can find it because I know I'd asked Lydia Meyer.
Compatibility and opportunistic use program.
What is it?
Sand compatibility and opportunistic use program.
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Wait, did I get that right?
Why don't you respell them?
Sand compatibility
Use.
and opportunistic use program.
Yeah. And then it would just take out and then just leave the word permits.
Got it. And then Sandag, I got that.
I see you have an extra C on that bullet above that, on the top line of that second of that.
Oh, including the Orange County sediment. Yeah, that's supposed to be county, right, Cynthia?
Orange County.
There you go, bud. Right there. I knew you were moving around. That's why you missed that.
Yeah.
Yep, missed it.
Yep.
I think I was adding spelling it out.
And
Yep.
then let's scroll down. You've got some BMPs to spell out, and you've got TMDLs. LCP. Gosh, am I getting dyslexic? LCPs and the SLRVA.
I could do LCP up here.
Cynthia, you're going to need to make an acronym.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
List of acronyms for the BPR people, because they're going to, once they get stuff, they're going to get lost.
No, I said that today.
No, it took me the better part of 3 or 4 months to get my head around all of Cynthia's acronyms. So
Yes, I know. Exactly.
there's a lot of acronyms in the environmental world, I'm realizing.
Yes, there are.
Doreen knows about that, just working for the EPA, right?
Everything has to have an acronym. It's actually one of the favorite things to do when you come up with a new program is come up with a great acronym for it.
Right. So it's like government and the military. Everything was an acronym in the government and the military.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, everything's an acronym, and everything's shortened.
Yeah.
Cynthia, go up. That stay apprised of California recycling. That's a separate bullet, by the way. That
Yeah,
last
that's a
bullet
separate
of that
bullet.
one.
Got
There
it.
you
Nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this format painter, that guy right there. Like the best thing since sliced.
What are you using? What is it called?
This format painter,
Oh,
see right there?
yeah.
Like, let's say I change this to no
Look how
bullets.
great that looks, Doreen.
So you highlight that. If you want, you go to format painter and it changes education outreach to.
And you need some capital letters in that pursue reduction of plastics zero waste goal. Need some capital letters there. The R's, the P's, the Z's, the W, and the G.
And nobody has anything else to add to these?
Well, I
If
was
we're
trying
getting
to,
nitpicky, I'd put a space between in front of 0.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. No, I don't know that that was a separate bullet. Hold on.
yeah, that's a separate bullet, consider.
Right.
What do you mean, what is your goal there? I mean, I that sounds stupid after what we've just done here. But what do you want to teach people, or what do you want? Is it a difference? There's a difference between getting something out of it yourself and also sharing what you know with other people. So what is it? What's the most important thing for you for this? That's going to help me answer your question about if I think there's anything else.
Well, to me, what this sort of highlights and the hope is that BPNR takes a look at it as a body and uses the recommendations to, when they develop their new work plan, that they'll take some of these and just lift them and put them in. That's the idea, is that they're looking at our priorities and that they would take those and lift them in and into their own work plan as they move forward. So it's just.
Would you mind going to the top, please?
What?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Doreen. I just wanted Cynthia to go to the top while I was listening to you.
Oh, and Cynthia, if we're going to change regional, it should be a lowercase r, develop a regional solution.
Yeah. So you want them to feel like they can adopt these and fit these things in. Is that the purpose then?
Yeah, I mean, at least sort of, it gives them a sort of a roadmap, like, okay, we want to look at beach nourishment. Yeah, like maybe there's a general agreement. Yes, they do. Well, then how do we want to do that? It sort of gives a roadmap. Oh, we really want to do a regional solution. We really want to make sure we get Chris Webb in here so we understand what's going on. We really want to make sure we review, so the people that want to educate themselves, these documents, so that we have a good understanding of the issues. We want to, track the Army Corps project.
Mm-hmm.
So it just sort of gives them, a roadmap of how to look at that issue.
Okay, and that makes sense. And I've got a suggestion here based on, let's see, sand replenishment, please, Cynthia.
Okay, hold on. You want me to go to sand replenishment? Okay,
Yes,
hold
please.
on. Beach nourishment?
Yes. Well, that's what okay. I would, before that bullet at the top, I would ask them to watch. You can do it either in a commission meeting, which I think would be more valuable. Charlie, I don't know if you've even seen this, the Army Corps of Engineering project with Tom Vonnegut doing it with Tim Brown. It was an excellent presentation on the project down there.
Is that on YouTube?
It's on, no, well, I don't know if it's on YouTube. It's in the city. Cynthia, what do they call that? Around town.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the around town files. It's usually about 20 minutes long. It was an excellent presentation. And that's what I would encourage you to let people know about what do we want for sand replenishment, sand nourishment, what does it mean? And you've got Tom and Tim down there, they're walking it, they're showing you from the pier, they're talking about it, they've got all kinds of great visuals. And you know what a great speaker Tom Vonnegut is. And Mayor
Susan,
Brown was
Susan, just a
really
quick
great
question
in
on that.
putting
How
that
old
in
How old
English.
is that?
I'm sorry?
How old is that video?
It's probably
Because the issue is pretty dynamic.
8 to 10 years old, probably.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, just playing it. It's at Lost Winds the other day. People telling me that they can't even play down at gosh, why am I blanking on the name? But down there by Cotton's, they can't play volleyball down there anymore. It's shocking how much sand erosion there's been. So I haven't seen the video. I mean, if you think it's instructive, great, but it's such a dynamic issue. I think you got to be talking about stuff that's really, is really recent and really smacks home of the things that people need to be thinking about and being concerned about. So
Well, it'd be interesting if at the same time somebody showed a few slides or some photos, go out on the pier and take pictures of the beaches as they are now.
that
by the
would
pier,
be
the
awesome.
same.
That would be
Yeah,
awesome. That's the kind of stuff you need. Yeah.
But it would be a great comparison, just like Surfrider did.
Yep.
And just within a month, the difference is
Yeah.
dramatic.
But keep it very topical, very recent. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that it helps them understand the need for sand when they look how long we've been waiting for sand and why we have to wait for sand anyway, and all those reasons why. But I think that they made a very simplistic presentation that was very educational, and that's coming from a teacher.
Why don't we just put it in the list of background documents, review existing background documents? So the Orange County Sediment Management Plan.
That's a good idea.
You can just call it the City of San Clemente. Would you call it the Walkabout Report?
Oh, the Round Town.
Around town. So just add that in as a background.
They would understand it a lot more before, if they saw that before developing a regional solution. So they know what we're dealing with in San Clemente and all of the new places, as Charlie's suggesting as well. You can even take pictures of the beaches that the lifeguards left behind to go to a new location. But all of those, Charlie's right. To see these real life things and how they used to be is shocking. And it makes them understand why these things are so important.
Right.
And even that with Charlie, I don't know if you found it when beaches, parks, and recreations with heavy storms, et cetera, a lot of the parks suffered from flooding.
Okay, we are 3 hours into this meeting, so.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Let us move along then. So, Jareen, what would you like us to do with this so far? I mean, I think the page 1 and 2 are dissonant to me. Maybe it's a format just.
They're what?
They're dissonant. Page 1 is a nice clear now that it's bulletized. It's clear and understand, and very easy to understand. Go to page 2, please.
Oh, Cynthia changed that.
Oh, you changed it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're good. We should move on from this because this is, like I said, this is a working document and Joreen's going to be there to push it. So.
And I can't think of anything else. And because as Charlie's saying, it's a live document, so it's open to revisions. And you might want to make a note of that on the bottom. It's a live document.
It's only if there's other issues that you want to sort of push forward that I didn't highlight.
No, I think you're good.
Okay.
I think you're good for right now too.
Yeah.
After the first year, I might have some other ideas.
So Susan can always get up in public comment and say you forgot this.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure she will do.
I will never do that. I'll get up in comments, but I would never say that to Jareen. I would call her and tell her that.
Fair enough.
My feelings don't get hurt.
No, Jareen's a smart woman and she knows what she's doing. Sometimes she's right. That's why, Charlie, I said to you and Gary, I mean, you guys have insight that I don't have. You come from backgrounds that I don't have. And it's really helpful to hear just your common sense answers that go, oh, yeah, ding, ding, ding here. Rings a bell. All righty. So here we are with this. So CAC recommends that BPR continue focus on the following. How about suggests instead of recommends?
The recommendation document?
I'm just suggesting that it sounds softer. It gives them a choice whether they're going to buy in whole hog to all these ideas.
Then you'd have to change. I like recommendations personally, just because we as a committee are recommending them to do that. I mean,
well, if you feel comfortable with it, that's fine with me.
Was that a motion, Doreen?
Yes.
Second.
No.
Now you got to make the motion. Go ahead, make it.
Motion.
It's on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda?
It's on the agenda. If you want to read the agenda recommendation, Doreen.
Read the, geez. I don't have that in
I'll
front
make a
of me.
motion. I make a motion that the Coastal Advisory Committee approve the list of key issues as currently formatted here at the meeting, which contains recommendations to the BPNR Commission for future consideration.
I second that. All in favor, thumbs up, please. For all. Great job. Great job, Doreen, and great job, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so with that, we are moving on to, let me get to my pages here, please. Where is page 7? Here it is, communication. Bacteria monitoring report, environmental programs update.
Let's see. So bacteria, is that we're on the bacteria monitoring report? It looks like there was one exceedance at Riviera Beach.
There was one, what, exceedance at Ribby?
Yeah,
Oh, it's probably coming down from that one swale.
June 8th. So I'm not sure there was rain. Oh, but there was rain between June 7th and June 9th.
Okay,
And so they sampled right in the middle of that, and we probably turned off the diversion. We have a diversion that diverts the water.
yeah,
I'm sure that was probably closed, so that could be why there was that exceedance at that site. But the other ones didn't exceed, so we did pretty good.
okay.
This is
Cynthia, do we get hit with a penalty with one exceedance, or does it have to be over multiple days?
Technically for our bacteria TMDL, one exceedance puts us in violation during dry weather.
Oh, wow.
But I haven't heard of the regional board issuing citations or notices of non-compliance. So not yet, anyway. Now, when it's raining, we have a little bit more leeway with the percent of exceedance days, depending on how many days are considered rain days. But even in the wintertime, if outside of 72 hours of rain, that's considered dry weather. So even if in, say, January, it hadn't rained for a week, and then we get an exceedance, that's considered dry weather. Even though it's technically in the rainy season, it's still dry weather during the rainy season.
Gotcha.
So,
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty, anything in the environmental programs updates?
let me see. Anything to highlight? On June 2nd, the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan internship presentation, I just wanted to highlight that. So the Regional Stormwater Education Group, they hired a contractor that they actually go out to a school. Well, during COVID, they've had to do this virtually, but where the students go and assess their school grounds to see if there's any potential sources for bacteria or other pollutants. And then they come up with solutions or BMPs to prevent that polluted discharge. And they put together a plan, a stormwater pollution prevention plan. And then from there, they present to their board, the school board, as well as the state regional water quality control board. So that's just kind of a cool, neat program.
That is a neat program.
I tried to get one of our schools involved this last year, and there's a couple of principals that are really environmental champions, and I don't think they accepted the offer, probably just due to a whole bunch of other things going on with COVID, trying to manage school programs and then
That's
adding
right.
this into the mix. So
Heavy load there now in the schools.
yeah.
But that sounds like a really great program. I hope you continue your efforts to get it in San Clemente.
Yeah, I think they try and do like 2 per year, 2 schools per year throughout Orange County. So maybe next year. I'm not sure if they're having that in the contract again for the regional education outreach component, but I will try and encourage that principal again to participate. So
That would be great. And is that at a junior high level?
elementary or middle school.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Keep me posted. I'd like to know that. I'm sure Jermaine would too.
Yeah, I'll definitely, I'm assuming through the BPR, I still haven't really talked to Samantha or, the new BPR members, what they might want to hear that are stormwater related, some of our education outreach. But I think some of these programs are pretty cool that should be shared with the commission. So.
Okay, good, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, reports. I've got coastal issues and legislative update. I'm going to tell you really quickly that I listened to the California Coastal Commission August meeting, and legislatively, none of the legislation has moved or has altered that I reported on last month, and they're going to look for some action and movement probably the first week or two of September. And pretty much the federal issues that I'm watching as well. For example, the SAD replenishment. I have a message here from Congressman Levin's office that I will read to you regarding, oops, don't do that, Ambrose. Hold on. Hold on a second. Regarding the money that Congressman Levin was successful in requesting. Oh, I hit the wrong key. Well, I'm going to have to do this. I've got a black screen. Okay, Cynthia, what do I do when I have a black screen on my phone? Let's see. Darn it.
Sorry, push the button at the bottom, your home button to log back in
Okay, let me try that.
with your password, maybe?
I did something to this where it disappeared. Well, I'm going to remember most of it anyway. Let me see. I'm not going to remember most of it. I'm going to look.
Gary, is that elk in the background?
Pardon me? What's that?
You're muted, Gary.
Oh,
That's a deer.
Oh, it's a deer.
Deer shot in Montana.
All right.
Anyway, the money that Congressman Levin asked for in the federal bill, that should be moving through the House in about a week or two, and that's looking like a good amount of cash. It's different than the $505,000 that was given in 2020 for the Army Corps of Engineering project. That project was for sand and sand related things, design, etc., to prepare for the things that the 9.3 million is going to be used for, which in that case, there's also going to be money available in that 9.3 for infrastructure improvements and things of that nature. So they're looking very positively at this, and we can keep our fingers crossed, but there's competition. There's another program. It's the surf, what is that called? It's by Huntington Beach. Michelle Steele is the representative for Huntington Beach. And I put all of those things, hold on, let me see if I have it right over here. Let's see, no, that's not it, but it might be here. Went through all that trouble to get these phone messages. Can't believe I've lost this. Anyway, maybe my note here. Okay, so yes, it's the 9.3 made into House appropriations, which in essence would earmark the federal money for projects in Southern California and North. They're calling North Huntington Beach and Newport Beach. Both the House and Senate have to pass the energy and water development and related agency funding bills first. But again, these are earmarked, and just like the 505,000, 100,000 rather, that is earmarked and ready to go to give to this project. So that's really good news. That's very good news. And again, though, there's other projects vying for the money, so we'll just see what happens there. So I wanted to talk to you about that. I did also listen to a presentation on the Orange County Capistrano Park, County Park down there, and what is going to happen there and what they want to happen there. Oh, there were all kinds of speakers for that. And Surfrider, forgive my not looking at you directly while I'm looking at these things. I've got lots of notes and paperwork all over the place, but because we're so late, I'm just going to give you the skinny on it. The informational briefing on the status of the Orange County Park sea level rise adaptation planning and nature-based adaptation feasibility study was required by conditions of the coastal development permit that was given to Orange County Parks to provide for interim protection of public amenities at Capistrano Beach County Park. In essence, most of the recommendations we're talking to them about not having anchors, so to speak, and not having solid walls or a lot of big boulders because it takes the sand away. And there's two schools of thoughts on that, but that's clearly what they're looking at. And they're also looking at a managed retreat, which is probably needs to be done. There's people who are diehard sand people who just want to have everything be as it is and let the sand just wash away when it washes away so they can enjoy it as they can enjoy it because every day is a nice sunny beach day. But that's not what's happening down there. The managed retreat is going to happen. The parking lot is now being worked out, and I think they're taking most of that parking lot out. There are petitions or requests from Surfrider and other companies and other interested environmental groups and just businesses as well as saying, let's not waste our money making another parking lot. And then the converse of that is, no, we want to save our parking so people can still go to the beach. But they're also looking for, of course, native planting and trying to accommodate their poll results of people wanting the bike trail still and the coastal trail still. So those are priorities for community members who filled out surveys. And last Saturday, they had a pop-up over there at Capo Beach. I was not able to go to that, but I can find out this week how it turned out. And I can give Cynthia the information. Cynthia, are you still willing to disperse some news like that to colleagues till the end of August?
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, so that's what happened with most of that. I also wanted to call your attention to the annual photography contest. The results are in, and boy, those photographs, I swear there's some very talented amateurs, or those amateurs aren't quite amateurs, but the photographs are just outstanding. So you can look them up on the California Coastal Commission. I think some of those winners will probably be invited to choose to put their pictures in cards or posters or photographs, that you might want to give as gifts or things of that nature. And also some good news coming from the Coastal Commission was they won an Emmy Award for their educational program on the California coast in scent, water. Let's see if I can read my shorthand here. Scent, water, waves, etc. In other words, it's a multi-sensory experience, the film is, and winning an Emmy, beating out some really high-level programs. They used funding from the whale tail license plates and fines or fees that motorists had to pay to fund this movie. And so I encourage you can watch it on YouTube, and you can go to the educational channel also in the California Coastal Commission website to see it. So they gave high raves to this program. And that Emmy was given during the daytime Emmys. So that's a pretty big deal for the California Coastal Commission to get an Emmy for one of their coastal programs. How cool is that? Anyway, okay. And then I wanted to share with you some real quickly. I'm going to hold them up, and I will send, if Cynthia doesn't mind, And if you're interested, if you're not interested, I won't go through this trouble, but, not that it's trouble, but I won't go through the time is a better response for me. There's all kinds of articles that are very pertinent to what we're dealing with. This one is called Federal Request is Still Full of Sand. And so this is about the grants that were given, or not given yet, but they're hoped to be given from the federal government, or the monies to these programs that are worthy, including ours. So this is in the Orange County Register local on July 16th. Here's another really good one that Jareen mentioned to me, and I saw myself as well. Are sand erosion and rising seas a concern for San Onofre's oceanfront nuclear waste storage? This came also from the Orange County Register, and I believe it came out in June, late June. And then there's Edison aims to rally allies nationwide to push feds on permanent nuclear waste storage. That's another pertinent article. When you're talking, this article is really talking about whether sea level rise and the storm damage is going to keep those canisters safe. And it's really chilling when you read the article. And informational, by the way. And then, of course, we have the Surf Riders Annual Clean Water Report, highlights infrastructure needs and toxic removing landscapes. So these are all articles that are available. I'll send the links if you're interested. If you are interested, give me a thumbs up right now. No one? Okay. Well then, Cynthia, we don't have that work to do. Anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about, I think I might have covered everything. Cynthia, was there something that I left out that I should have told you about?
I know of.
Oh, the California King Tides.
Oh, King Tides.
Yeah, they're going to be this year, December 4th and 5th. You want to mark your calendar, and January 2nd and 3rd in 2022. There's a printout flyer. And again, if you're interested, you can go to the California Coastal Commission to get this information about the King Tides project. They also have all kinds of educational materials for classrooms. And Jareen, you might be interested in this, and Charlie, you might be interested in this. Anybody who has children or access to children or around children, they've got great activities and learning experiences for kids for free. So I think that's pretty darn cool. And there's other things that have come along. There's conferences on the King Tides, for example. There's a speaker in the beginning week of September, or maybe maybe it's the 9th or 10th, a professor from Texas Tech, and she's also a scientist who would be talking about sea level rise, storm damage, and flooding in areas that have to do with California King Tides and storms and high tides in general. So if you're interested in listening to that seminar, let Cynthia know, and I will pass on that information to her. And right now, I think that's about all I have on my slate right now. Thank you very much. Cynthia, you are next in line.
Okay. Oh, hold on. I went dark.
Oh, wait a minute. Eileen? Eileen, are you still with us?
Yes, Chair Ambrose.
Oh, thank you, Eileen. Is this where I should also talk about that report thing? Or am I supposed to do that?
No, I think there's an additional, let me check my agenda really quick. This is
I can still
reports,
talk as a committee
and then
member.
you have items from committee members. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do it then.
All right. You remind me what I'm going to say, please. It's been a long meeting. Thank you, Eileen.
Me? Thank you.
All right. Cynthia, it's all yours.
Okay. So Clean Ocean Fee Renewal Update. We are working on using with a consultant to develop a more up-to-date tool to better make it more defensible rate study for the Clean Ocean Fee. There were some assumptions made previously, and we're just going to move over to newer tools used to determine imperviousness and extrapolate that data from single family homes over to commercial and industrial properties. So we're in the middle of doing that, and we're looking at about 600 parcels in the city that need to be assigned a rate category, whether they're single family homes or undeveloped or commercial. So we're in the process of that, and we should be able to present something to city council in November or December. So
Okay.
once we get that blessing on which rate the city council wants to use for the Clean Ocean program, then that's when we'll start moving forward with more comprehensive outreach with those rate tables and rate amounts.
Okay. So does that mean that you may looking for spring then, rather than December to look for votes?
Yeah, at the November, December meeting, we would also then present to city council like a timeline and get their feedback. I mean, once we get their approval on a rate amount, we can get those protest hearing ballots out within a couple of weeks or within a couple of days, which could be January. And then that's 45-day period, and then another 45 days for ballots if we don't get a protest, which if we go in January with the ballots and we get feedback by the end of March, then we could technically get the Clean Ocean fee reinstated in April if the property owners approve, which would give us about 3 months of revenue for the program.
But then you must know that April 15th is tax day and people will not be wanting to give more money away.
Yes, we realize that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
And then there's the CRNR franchise hauler agreement amendment. The public hearing, there's 2 different rate increases for the CRNR franchise agreement. There's the consumer price index increase, which is proposed to start October 1st. And then on January 1st are some organics or diversion program elements that need to be implemented per state law. So if you've received the public hearing or that CRNR public hearing notice, you'll see that there's different rates for October 1st and different rates for January 1st, because there's new services starting on January 1st. So if you've received that, that is why. And that public hearing we just found out, I think, is actually going to be held on September 28th. The notice, I think, said September 21st. I even have the date wrong in the agenda here, but it's going to be September 28th.
Okay.
Oh, no, I don't. Okay. And then there's the pure bacteria source characterization study update. We did still find human hits in a couple of samples. I'm having meetings with some consultants to determine what's the extent of the sampling that we need to do. We're trying to identify potential sources and re-recording video lines, sewer lines, and storm drain lines. We're looking to do a couple management measures before we start sampling again. And we're going to send an update to the stakeholder advisory committee, Joreen. So we're going to do like a memo update on where we stand on different things so that group is aware of what we're doing.
Did we ever find out an answer to how that works with CAC sitting on the committee and if that continues?
Yes, stakeholder advisory committee is a total separate entity or group. So that we're not going to make any changes to that membership because John Dory, he was on the BPR commission, I believe. And so he sits on the stakeholder advisory committee and then you're with the CAC. So I talked to the city clerk about that. There's not going to be any changes. It'll be fine because it is a total separate appointed organization. So,
okay.
Yep.
Good. Let me ask you, why are you meeting with other consultants? Why aren't you getting that team of experts together to talk to them?
It's the same consultants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's also some consultants that work with the county. So we're working with Wood, but also with the county of Orange, because they're providing some funding for some of this confirmatory sampling. So they have their as needed consultant on board with doing some stuff. So we're just gonna put our heads together and figure out a sampling plan, how we want to move forward without
And you
having
don't
to
want-
spend a whole lot of money.
You don't want to have the whole committee there to help give you ideas, or are those people enough?
I don't think, we don't need the stakeholder advisory committee to give us the feedback on the sampling plan. We're still going to sample for the same markers type thing. So, and I need to extend the wood agreement. So when I go before city council to extend that, I need to have an idea of what the plan is going to be and how much that cost is. And that's going to be September 7th when I go before city council for
Oh,
that.
it is, okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
September 18th is Coastal Cleanup Day. Looks like we're going to have the pier where city staff will be. T Street, I believe, is going to be you, Susan, right?
yeah,
And then Calafia State Park. So that's going to be
And
9 a.m. to noon.
thank you. And I am looking for a couple guys with pickup trucks to help carry things down to T Street, down the stairs, etc., and back up the stairs when it's over, and maybe even help man the tables down there, at maybe on hour shifts, or if you could do the whole 3 hours, that would be great. So those of you who are on this committee, if you would consider people you know, or if you yourselves are interested in helping me out, I would really appreciate it. I also need somebody who's a tech person to communicate with the tech stuff that has to be turned in. They have this Evite program that you have to respond to the people who, so anybody who signs up and registers now, and they want you to do most of that online, will be getting an invitation. And in essence, it looks like you're selling them a ticket, but you're giving them a ticket number. So it goes on a list. So when they come and check in at the table, you mark their name off. But then you have to record all those numbers to call them in at the end of the session, at the end of the hours allowed, those 3 hours for Coastal Cleanup Day. I'm looking for somebody who would do that for me at the tables and to help clean this up and send the information on to the county associate. So if you could get back to me, I'd appreciate it. The Coastal Cleanup Day is the 18th. Or if you know anybody who would want to earn any points, for student credits for doing that, please let me know, because they can get volunteer service hours for that as well.
Hey, Susan,
All right.
I'll send an email to the school, the environmental club, and
Great.
see if I can get volunteers for both sites, Pier and T Street. So I'll do that next week, okay?
Well, I appreciate that, but I definitely need people to carry tables. Did you say you had tables from the city that I could use?
I do not. Parks
Okay.
and Recreation has all the tables. I don't have any tables. And then I use the picnic tables at the pier. So
I know T Street is going under a change of concessionaires down there, and I think they're having food trucks for a couple months. But I think so I could use the tables down there if they have not been removed. I haven't been down there in a while. Have you gone down there, Cynthia, to see
no.
if it's usable? Okay, well, I'll have to make a point to do that beforehand. But at any rate, just those stairs, that's going to be a trick enough for me I won't be able to do that by myself. So anyway, when you put that ad to the high school students, or anybody with your churches or groups that you're in, if you know of anybody who would want to do this, let me know, please. And then that's back to you, Cynthia. You're on the city webpage.
Yeah, so then we'll update the city webpage to reflect that CAC responsibilities will be infused to the Beaches Park and Recreation Commission. So I'll work on that in the next couple of weeks, obviously, and have that updated before the end of the month.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why do we have 9 items from staff? Do you have something else that you'd like to add, Cynthia, that's not necessarily work related?
No, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Items from committee members. Gary, would you like to share what you're doing over there in planning and how's it going?
We've had some pretty good meetings with a lot of discussion. But it's been good. I just want to thank everybody, staff, all the members of this committee. It's been enjoyable. I've learned a lot, about San Clemente and the coastline and the issues of the coast and the beach, and also the county and the state. So I just appreciate all the knowledge that I gained from all of you since this is our last meeting.
This is our last meeting. Great. Thank you for that comment, those comments. I appreciate that. I think we all do. Charlie, do you want to share some comments? Oops.
I don't have really anything to say. Just I'll echo Gary's sentiment. Thank you. It's been great to work with you guys, and see you around town. Yeah.
It's around town. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a little bit of a back seat for a few years, and then re-engage once the kids are out of the house. So.
Good. Okay. Doreen? Oh.
I was on mute. Yeah, I mean, it's been, I've served on this committee for 5 years. I've always cared about coastal issues, and this has been meaningful for me to be a part of this, and I'm happy and excited to continue some of the coastal work with BPNR. So I'm excited about that. So you know where to find me. I'm not going anywhere. And yeah, it's Cynthia, thank you for, I know this is, a lot of work and a lot of effort that you've put into the committee. And it's been really great to see everything that the city has done with coastal issues. And I will miss, learning, I think, to the depth that we do go into. I don't know if that's going to continue, but it's been great. So thank you very much. And also we have to acknowledge our fearless leader, Susan, for taking the charge and leading us through this for all these years. So thank you, Susan, for all of your hard work. And I know where your heart is, and I know these issues are really important to you, and I know the effort that you put in, and it's recognized. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you very much. It was very kind of you. Cynthia, I'm going to let you go next.
Yeah, I want to thank all of you and all the past members who have participated on Coastal Advisory Committee. I'm actually sad that this committee is getting folded into BPR. When I was in college, I actually was in your seat. I served on Oceanside's Integrated Waste Commission. And then when I moved to Vista, I went to their Vista Environmental Quality Commission. And so I served in the role that you folks are sitting in. So when this actual job position came up, I was pretty excited because like, oh, well, I've been in their seat before. So now I get to serve as a staff liaison and help coordinate between the public and the city and what we do here at the city. So I was pretty excited about that and have enjoyed serving as a staff liaison. And I still look forward to working with Beaches, Parks, and Recreation because there's still water quality issues related to beaches. So I look forward to still continuing those work efforts with that commission. So, and I want to thank all of you folks for everything that you've done and the time you spend.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Eileen, do you want to say anything? I'm going to be the last one to speak. Oh, Eileen, are we with you?
Thank you so much for offering, but I have enjoyed being your recording secretary and getting to advise you occasionally, and especially the respect you all showed me, as if I was the most knowledgeable person in the room about it. I really appreciate that. So
You often are, Eileen.
No, so I'll miss this committee, but I just feel as though these are more arrows pointing me towards retirement. So that's a good thing.
Well, Well,
You have an extra night to go to Disneyland.
Yeah,
Truth. But that's more fun than work.
yeah, that's your alter ego at Disneyland, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you for your contributions. And I have to say thank you to all of you. I mean, really, it's been just a joy and an honor and a privilege to work with you. You bring so much to the table, and while we may not always agree, we can leave the cups behind, etc., and we still can show respect for each other and what we do talk about and what we do share. It's been a pleasure to learn from each of you because you bring different things to the table, and I think you all find that with the rest of us, your colleagues, and even if Gary, when you sat on other committees, and Charlie, when you sat on the commission, and myself in other places, and Doreen and you in other places, and Cynthia's own story just recently shared, we obtain certain strengths from other people by their insight and by the kinds of ways that they present information. It's always a wonderful gift. That's how I look at this committee, not only with you, the current people who are here, but in people who have been on this committee in the past. And it's really been a wonderful experience and an honor for me to serve. And I'd like to say to you, I really, really wish you the best in your next path, your next light that you're going to go down, the chapter in your life, if you will. And most of all, I wish you joy. I've learned myself in the past year or so that I really need to start focusing on going towards the things that draw the light for me and that make me feel joyful. I turned in my application for BPNR at the very last minute after getting many hundreds of phone calls of people just saying, hey, you really should do this. It's important. You owe it to the city. You owe it to the city. And I'd talk about that with my family, and they'd say, well, wait a minute. You've done so much already. You've volunteered so many times in 11 years, etc. And while I've loved it all the time, now I am a first-time grandmother. So I have a little granddaughter that I am eager to see and eager to be her Grammy with. And it's just exciting. So there's those things that are knocking on my door, and some opportunities in Sacramento to do some work and other places of those kinds of things. But I'm really focused on myself. I do want to say, to be very candid with you, when I turned in that application at the last minute, by the skin of my teeth, I think I had 4 minutes. Of course, they have the locked doors there. So I'm standing out there looking in the window, even though somebody was supposed to greet me. They weren't down there in time, so somebody from engineering let me in. But in the past, every time I've turned in an application, I signed my name in front of one of the workers there who was involved in taking the specific application. So that's what I waited to do. And unfortunately for me, that's no longer the program. You're supposed to sign it and just turn it in and off you go. I did not do that. Consequently, my near late application was not considered because my signature was not on that last page. So at any rate, that's what happened there. And I almost look at it as, you wait. It's not even that I waited to the end. It's just that I think that the Lord knew what direction I wanted to go. It's time for me to spend some more time with my family as well and focus on the needs that they have that I can fulfill and the needs that I have as well, just being a grandmother now. So with that said, I thank you all. I wish you au revoir, not adieu or not goodbye or anything like that. And so if any of you have any other questions, coming up or whatever, I compliment you all with the talent and skill that you bring to the table. And I know that you will all do very well. So thank you very much. And with that, if Cynthia's coming back, I am going to adjourn this meeting. Oh, and by the way, I can tell you that I was invited to go to the interviews, and I was recognized by one or two of the council members saying, well, we have Ms. Ambrose here to be sure that we pick the best candidates. That was a very kind thing for him to say. but in doing so too, it was a good laugh. And of course, they didn't have that many candidates. I think they fulfilled all the positions. There was only one person left who did not get on the committee. And that person just, walked off then. But it's an interesting committee in BPNR. Not too many of them have beaches, parks, and rec experience at all. And two of them, Doreen and somebody she brought on, a scientist who's going to be an excellent, both of you are going to be excellent additions to that committee, just in the way you relate to people as well. And so he's a published scientist and very practiced in California and across the United States. So he will bring a lot of knowledge to that group. And I think he knows how to start. He's been a professor as well, and probably currently is, I think, maybe just taking a break for a short time from one of the universities. But he will bring a lot to the table that will help pave the way for knowledge and coastal issues too. So with that said, I am going to adjourn this meeting. There being no further business, the Coastal Advisory Committee is going to be adjourned. And by the way, Eileen, can you come back on a second? Eileen, can you come back on a second?
Of course.
Eileen, I want to be sure I add my comments that on the issue that we talked about with Cynthia, giving some mentoring to that applicant for the grant.
Uh-huh.
You wanted me to add that language here, that
Right.
I feel it's appropriate that she meet with him and be sure that he can get a plan together that befits the plan he wants to carry out.
Okay, meet with them, ensure plan.
And to guide him along into developing a plan so he can accomplish what he would like to accomplish in his grant proposal. That's probably more English for you.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, and that you would also consult with the city manager and share that we had some concerns about the plan or some of the deficits of the plan, but thought it was still a good idea, but we still have those concerns. So did I cover what you needed for that?
Yes.
Thank you, Eileen.
Uh-huh,
So
you're welcome.
back to my adjourning. I'm adjourning to, actually, we are terminating on August 31st with our responsibilities. Will be infused into the Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Commission. I've made the motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Ambrose, second by Gary McLaughlin. And all in favor? Thumbs
Aye.
up? Aye. Doreen? Aye. Cynthia, you don't have to vote, but I'd have like a thumbs up for you. All right. Thank you. Thank you all for all you've done. Best wishes to you and lots of joy.